Live from the Jersey Shore. Schmuel Buckman. Happy Saturday night, guys. What's going on? Hey, pretty antisocial. When we scheduled this, I was thinking, do you guys have a member show tonight? Anyway, heavy filters again. Sorry for that. My face is still recovering from my little photodynamic therapy, um, which was necessary because I don't want you people believing that I have a I don't know, chemical peel or some shit, because I'm not making myself look better for you people. Not that that would be possible anyway. All right, guys, I've got so far pretty antisocial is here. They've been kicking ass lately on steel toe stuff. Pretty wild. And they did have a great discussion about uh, Aaron's shirts, which got to him. And last night, where did I go? I went to Playboard because I wanted to see. I'm always reticent to believe um, Steel Toe's numbers. So I go to Playboard and I put in, search Steel Toe show, and it comes up with there are two shows that meet this. And the first show was Steel Toe Morning Show, and the second show was Pretty Antisocial. So I know that they're driving Aaron crazy. So pretty awesome there, kids. Anyway, um, as I said earlier, we have a show where we'll cover absolutely nothing tonight. Uh, Crumb Bun will be joining us a little later. I've sent out the link to a couple of other people. Eccles in here to troll me in the chat. He also has the link. But, after 8 hours of streaming yesterday, his voice might be a little tired, and I know he's back on tomorrow. Um, so we'll just do some stuff here while we get going, and let some other people join us. I was out today. It was a beautiful day. Took my dog over to the lake. We went to the beach, but the beach was too windy. I know these are exciting things, but for some reason you like to know about Shmuel's life. I guess you want to know that I'm not trapped in a nursing home somewhere. Um, but yeah, so good day, good day. Listen to a lot of was listening to bluegrass all day long, and particularly Molly Tuttle and some Sierra stuff. And uh, Dan from Nice Podcasts, did you see the swan today? I actually put up a picture of the swan today. Today is Swan Day, so I've been putting this out on Twitter. Um, I am near an island uh, these days, this weekend. I'm near an island that there is a nesting swan, and I don't know that people are telling me the truth or not. It's called a mute swan. And yesterday was pretty cool because I was looking at the mute swan, who I'm told is a male sitting on the eggs, but I don't know if that's true or not. In any event, so I was sitting there watching the swan. I was with the dog, and I sat on the edge and I leaned over, and another big mofo swan came over and wanted to poke me. Now, I was pretty far away from the other one, so I do not know whether I was being asked for food or whether the big guy was protecting the other guy. But if you give me a sec here, I'm actually going to put up a picture today. So today, Schmuel's service dog was lucky enough that he went over and looked at the edge of the lake, and the the swan came over and gave him a poke. And Dan from Nice Podcast, no, I don't do any other bird watching, and to tell you the truth, I would barely watch swans, but it was a nice day, and I'm not allowed to smoke cigars in or near my house. So I went over there, and there's a nice bench, and I sat down. I'm kidding. I can smoke on my front porch and backyard. Um, but to be nice to Mrs. Buckman, I don't do it inside the house. And I apparently have to quit soon anyway, so I got to get rid of them. but people keep buying me cigars. Um, and Echo Pineapple, Stalin, do you really want to miss out on Swan Talk? Swans are very fucking cool. I got to see one take off and very majestic. And there's little ducks and it's I'm in the Jersey Shore. My man Deeds, who I know is familiar with the shore, will tell you that they are these towns, right? So I guess when they built the road, they just cut the tributaries to the river. And so you have these lakes that separate the towns, and one end is the ocean, and the other end is the highway. It's about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 long blocks, and the water goes in and out. And it's pretty cool. I've been coming here for about 10 years and I've seen people fish. I have never seen anyone catch one. Um, and I can tell you that it's not that deep because about 8 years ago, my wife was not paying attention when she was walking the dog and he went into the lake. And nothing will mobilize local police departments and fire departments like a dog in the lake. Um, but apparently the pond's only like a few. I think it's called Dirty Deeds, where you buy Rec Pond. I think it's called Fletcher Lake, but I'm not really sure. And it's pretty funny because they pretty much named everything here a lake. Because I was driving to like ShopRite one time one day, and it's it's essentially like a giant sewer pit, and they call it Lake Alberta. So I have no idea what this is. All I know is I wouldn't want to go swimming on it. And oh my God, the bad jokes have started. Dirty deeds. A dog in the water. That's a swan in a million. Oy, oy. So deeds, you and OG Nick ought to get together and come up with names and jokes. So, based on a conspiracy theory, Drew says you're the most interesting storyteller on the internet. Um, yeah, it's not true. But someone did say that they ran me through AI today, and I don't know which program it was, but apparently we've made AI, and I have funny comedic. He actually sent it to me. I could actually read it to you, which I thought was absolutely hilarious because I was like, whoever's writing this is definitely in the Dabbleverse and is trying to fuck with me. Schmuel Buckman appears to be a content creator and commentator on YouTube, known for his humorous and opinionated takes on various topics. His channel features streams, videos discussing events, personalities, and cultural phenomena, often with a comedic twist. They did not see the show the other night because there was no comedic twist there for sure. Um, Jarreau, please make a bar about swans in the elderly waters. It's very funny. Echo. I gotta say, sorry about that. I don't really feel, I don't feel my age, but I am my age, and every now and then I do find myself in a senior citizen moment. Um, So, all right, you're all going to raise your hands. How many people were here the other night when I was having major problems with sound? Uh, well, it turns out, fellas, that in a very elderly moment, I had the mic backwards. So there you go. And I think that's pretty goddamn funny. And I laugh. I laugh to myself. I laugh. I laugh. And Echo, if you rewatched it this AM, you poor bastard. But yeah, I had the mic backwards, and I'm kind of a mess with the streaming. It's not something that I do. I know a lot of guys are at their computer all the time, and I am not. And so I have to like reset every time I move because I move from place to place. Um, so it wasn't just your mic. You played a video with no sound for like 10 minutes. Yeah, that was the other part. It was look, what do they call it in a plane when one little thing happens and then a bunch of stuff happens? It is called catastrophic failure. It was a catastrophic failure. the Chrome browser that I'm in is signed into one account, and my premium YouTube is on another account. And so when I went into the premium YouTube, it wouldn't play the sound. So there we go. I do have let's give this a shot, fellas, and see if this works. I have a bunch of crap to share, but let's very quickly do what everybody else saw, which is the old John Melendez from yesterday's news channel, and see if you all can hear it.
Back in the day when he was entertaining, you probably heard this guy here on quite a bit. Or maybe you heard him as the announcer for Jay Leno on Tonight Show. Well, now he's doing a lot of busy things on his own. We're talking, of course, about the man known as Stuttering John, John Melendez.
How you doing, man?
John, thanks so much for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
See the
You have no idea. Back in the day when I was just a young, dumb college student, we would sit around the radio like old people.
All right, somebody just put a 1 or something in the chat. Let me know you can hear it, so I don't look like a complete asshole later on, because I know you fuckers will let me run this thing for 20 minutes without doing it. Hear what? All right, so I know it's working. Thank you, Echo.
And
So we'll come back to that later. This is our check. This is what happens when you're a lonely old man. So let me tell you a story. So this guy here, Dirty Deeds, you guys might know Dirty Deeds from the Dabbleverse. He's on Twitter and he's often quoted in Reddit. Deeds is a good man. He's a really good guy, and he's also a Stuttering John fan, and he's helped John a lot. He was, I think, a member of John's last show, or a co-host, or a guest. But I really do. What do you call it? I enjoy Deeds, and I enjoy his tweets, and I think tomorrow we're gonna get together and grab a drink. So that would be very cool. But Deeds is a good egg, and I always thought Deeds was a good egg. I got to meet Deeds at Ray DeVito's birthday party. So good on Deeds, because going to Ray DeVito's birthday party is kind of a chore. Yeah, so Deeds was there. It was great. I met him, and I am friendly with Shuli. They do not get along, and for some reason, I was watching one night, and they kind of decided to dox, for lack of a better word. I mean, Dirty Deeds is Dirty Deeds, but they wanted to go with his full name and all that bullshit. And I don't get it. I don't know that Deeds has done anything to warrant that. I like the Deeds. So, and Leo Gunn is here. Hi, Leo. All right, we're in. Crumb is going to be joining us real quick. So, I got some stuff I'd like to talk about. I know you're not supposed to bend down. You're on the street. I got some stuff to talk about, and yeah, but we'll finish this real quick. TSN docs Dirty Deeds. Look, it depends upon what you mean by doxing. I felt it was doxing. They came out with his full name, and it was very much of a. I know you're out, Deeds, but still, it wasn't necessary. But it was very much of a. It was like a Stuttering John esque kind of like, I know who you are, and then saying the name. So I was quite annoyed. And yes, Deeds, I'm cool. I don't know. I was disappointed um in the Shuli team. And lately I haven't watched any of the Shuli stuff. Um Not for that reason, just there's nothing there. But this doxing thing, I don't like it. And I've always been in the of the mindset. I don't ask people for their phone numbers. I don't ask them for their real names. I just don't care about it. So I don't get what it's about. I don't get that people feel what do you call it? Oh shit. You got to hit that fucking excuse me, that send button. or else nobody gets a link. So Crumb is coming in to join us, and we are. So, uh, in case anybody hasn't figured it out, I could use a producer. Not that any of you cats want to produce a for this for me, but I could really use some help here. Bit. I just tried to send Cupcake a link, and I wound up sending him a picture. Luckily, it's not anything that we're going to regret. Yeah, so the other night I was going to come back on, and I sent out links to not links, but I sent out messages to people saying, asking if they were still vertical, and I got one. I got one um, back, a message back yesterday. So it's Thursday night. So I get a message back yesterday from Quad, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just answering your text from last night." And I'm like, I did not remember texting Quad at all, and it reminded me of the old days when I would drink and black out. And I was like, "Oh my God, did I do something?" But I did send him an "Are you vertical?" text. And Echo Pineapple, why don't you be a producer and find a new first mic? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. No, Leo Gunn, poor Dave must have been fired. No, 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 no. Dave actually has the link. Dave is taking a streaming break. He hasn't been on lately. Um, he's been working and doing some other stuff. So we'll get back. Let's see what Leo Gunn has to say. When John gave out my number, I got about a half dozen texts from people telling me they reported John for doxing. That's very funny. I've told the story where Gino once told all of his followers to come after me on Twitter, and not a single person responded. So there you go. Um, so here we go. We just explained Dave their cigarette. Big Dubs is here. All right, I'm doing an Opie, right? Big Dubs is here. Uh, Stalin 19 is here. That warms my heart. Uh, Pretty antisocial. My favorite ladies are here. Uh, don't you guys do Pretty antisocial? Don't you guys do a members only later tonight or something? Or did I screw that up? Because I said I when we decided to do this tonight, I was like, oh, the ladies are going to be on. But I've kind of reached the point where I do try not to stream when other shows are on, but everything's on so much now. I'll never get to stream. So here we are. All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes here. I have a legal question. Do you guys know Alex Rosen? Um, and if you do, what do you think about it? So this clip is awful because it sounds like it's AI, but it tells the story pretty accurately without a lot of superfluous bullshit. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And if you don't know who Alex Rosen is, he runs something called Poachers, and he's a vigilante, for lack of a better word. And so I've gotten into arguments with people about him, but I just want to see what our world thinks here about him.
Rosen, known for his online persona as Chet Goldstein and Gordon Flowers, has been arrested in Branson, Missouri, following a controversial sting operation at a steak and shake restaurant. Rosen is the founder of Predator Poachers, a Houston-based organization conducting sting operations against alleged child predators. The group claims responsibility for arrests in 46 states and convictions in 33, though these numbers remain unverified. Law enforcement reactions to Rosen's methods have been mixed. While some praise his efforts, others argue such operations should be handled by professionals, citing legal complications and potential interference with police investigations. On March 27, 2025 at 4:34 p.m. an ex, formerly Twitter, post by iFightForKids, presumably Rosen's account, showed images of him being handcuffed by Branson police. He was wearing a "Do Not Disturb" shirt at the time of arrest. The reason for the arrest is not officially confirmed, but multiple sources on X suggest it stemmed from a confrontation at a steak and shake restaurant. What happened at Steak and Shake?
Steak and
Online
shake.
reports claim Rosen was confronting a multiple-time pedophile inside the restaurant when the Steak and Shake owner allegedly intervened and assaulted someone filming the incident. Instead of arresting the suspected predator, police arrested Rosen. 2 possible Steak and Shake locations in Branson: 503 W Main Street, 1386 Highway 376. No mainstream news outlets like Branson Tri-Lakes News or Branson Globe have reported on the incident yet. Legal implications. The legality of civilian sting operations is murky.
All right, we've got enough. So do you know who that guy is, Crumb?
Yeah. I mean, I know him from Twitter.
From Twitter, yeah. I don't mean,
Yeah.
like, do you know him personally?
No, don't know him personally.
Have
He looks like
opinion
people I
on it,
know.
or-
He could be a relative of mine. Redbeard. He's like 22 and he's bald. There's something suspicious about that.
I always find I don't know. I find vigilante suspicious. That's my first indication of these guys. Whenever these guys are so righteous, it makes me nervous.
Yeah, he seems weird. He likes to say the N-word and all sorts of weird shit too in live streams on Twitter.
Yeah. Which explains his friendship with Mersh, I guess.
Oh, he's friends with Mersh?
Yeah.
Is that how he got into that?
I think Mersh has had him on a show. That's where I don't want to say I heard about him from there, but I had somebody put up a video, one of his arrests videos. The guy went inside and shot himself, I think was what happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is all fun and games until somebody innocent gets killed. And I was summarily trashed. And Mersh was one of the people. And I guess he's really good. Not good friends, but he knows the guy, and they've gone back and forth. And, he thinks he's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, that's up Mersh's alley. That's kind of like, I feel like that's his bread and butter. The people that would like that guy. Just redneck, white trash people.
Yeah, and it's funny because Mersh is from New York, and Queens, or
Oh, is he?
Queens, Long Island area. Yeah, and
I don't know. I
Frank-
never really got into Mersh. I mean, I know who he is. I've seen tons of clips. I've tried to watch a few of his shows, but I can't get into it. He bothers me.
yeah, he bothers me though. He's talented though. I will give him that. He's got the ability to carry a show for 3 or 4 hours, and he's got the radio voice, which I would love. But
that's not talent though. You're
the
not
ability
naming
to carry,
things to
the
me.
ability
that are
to
like,
carry a show is talent, though.
No,
Yes.
you think?
Yeah.
Just to
Nobody's
carry
gonna
a
wanna
show,
listen.
so that's all. Come.
No.
It's got to
No-
be the
no-
content has to be good.
Right. But he's got listeners. He's got viewers. I know he's on Rumble, and he draws interest. So there's got to be something to that. I mean, you could say the same about Stuttering John, right? That he draws interest and he has no talent. But I think Mersh is. I would say Mersh is talent. I don't like the guy.
Would you say Aaron is talented because he can carry a show for hours on end?
Oh, I think Aaron is talented. I don't really think there's much question about that.
Yeah.
I think I think he's misdirected.
So it's a form of delusion probably for these people.
Right. I mean, look, there's having talent. I know a lot of talented actors and comedians, but they can't make a living at it. It doesn't mean that they're not talented,
Right.
but
right.
they still persist. Like Aaron is delusional, with this, and we can get into his going back to radio. I just want to say the thing about Mersh is, he's spoken a lot. I watched his show for a little bit. and he talks about a lot of the neighborhoods and people that I would cross paths with, and nobody knows who the fuck he is,
No.
and the stories don't match up, and so um, look, I think that why maybe that's why I think he's talented because he's able to take other people's stories and tell them as his own and make them sound reasonably interesting.
He's a good
So,
liar.
uh,
Yeah.
driving Bobo takes talent. That seems to be the one consistent thing that he doesn't talk about very much is that he drove Bobo all over when Bobo was on Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I've heard that. Yeah.
right, there's a whole bunch of stories about different strip clubs and stuff like that. Um,
Well, he ran a strip club down here in Florida.
right, I know he did sue them. That was
Yeah, cuz
that's
wrongful
the funny
termination
thing.
or something?
Yeah, he sued for wrongful termination because he was discriminated against, I believe, because he was Caucasian, um,
Oh.
and spent a bunch of money on the lawsuit, and the lawsuit was tossed.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
yeah, you're
it was
not winning that
dismissed.
lawsuit.
Sorry, guys, I have to
As a
wipe the
white
nose.
man suing for you're fired cuz you're white. Mm-mm.
Right, but also if you're streaming a lot and you're telling a lot of stories, it's very hard to then come up with, oh, this is the reason why uh, I got fired because I'm a white guy or
Yeah.
you did like whatever. So, and I may have the story totally wrong, and there's other people on here that could do it. Um, to tell it better. But Porcelain did Porcelain did several uh, parts. He did like a 3-part documentary on Mersh,
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
which is pretty interesting. Um, I like Porcelain's work, but I still don't. It's his world is surrounded by such assholes. It's very hard to for me to find a protagonist and an antagonist in these things,
Mhm.
um, because they're all just shit. So it just feels like they're all getting that they're
Right.
all getting what they deserve.
We have
Um,
no hero in the Dabbleverse is what you're saying.
right. Well, we
We're
do,
looking for a hero. We're
but
waiting
they're
for
they're
one.
not. Yeah, they're not here. Someone come and save us.
Yeah. Who
What
will it be?
I don't. I don't know. Um. I don't think it's going to be Adam Bush. That's for sure.
No.
Dave. Dave had a great line uh, where he asked the question, like when he watches Adam and Carly, it's like, why do I always feel like they're flirting with each other? Uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like those guys, like you were saying, they have talent. They can carry shows, but I don't tend to like it. So maybe that's my. I was confused because like I don't think they're talented because I don't like it. Doesn't mean they're not talented. So I get what you're saying. Yeah.
that's my thing with Aaron. I can't stand Aaron. Like he's one of the few people that will get me viscerally angry to watch him on the internet, and
Yeah.
it's got no effect on my life. But yet I can find my blood pressure going up and my heart rate increasing. Um,
Right. No, I
but
feel you. I do that. I
I
mean, KB's like that for me too, and
yeah,
Aaron. Yeah.
I don't want to, and I don't want to deny KB's talent either. Like they're talented, and I don't know there's an analogy somewhere in the like, you know, if they, like the criminals when they say, oh, if he devoted himself to good, he'd been really successful, but instead devoted himself to crime.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like that with Aaron. Like if Aaron could control himself a little bit and had some common sense, he would have done fine. He would have been a fine
Yeah.
Midwest radio host. Um,
You're
and
not wrong. In a different time, if he had a producer and he got into like started working in radio, and the producer's like, "Listen, just do what I tell you to do. You got a great voice, kid. You're gonna do it." And he did. He followed that path, and then he got on. He could have been like. So I see what you're saying totally, and 100%. He could have been a good Midwest radio guy, AM or FM on any night, telling you the news and the weather, sticking to the facts, not arguing with people. or not doing your own because you're too dumb. You can't go off on a tangent because you're stupid.
That's right.
Just read the script, fuck it. Like that's it. And that's all. That's all. That's all news is. Like if you watch local news, those people just they're not thinking their own thoughts or saying their own thoughts. They're just reading a script. And yeah, you can. Yeah, that's talent too.
That's one of
If you could
the
do that.
in in Great Britain. I've always noticed they call them news readers
Yeah.
as
Oh, same
opposed to
thing here.
journalists. Well, we call them newsmen, newswomen.
Well,
Um,
yeah, they're
and we
readers
think
now
that
though, basically.
well, yeah, all
Local
they're doing is
news,
reading.
local news for sure. Not national news, not your CBS evening news type shit, but local.
No,
Yeah.
I think that they're news readers. That
No, yeah, totally.
I you know I I whatever. I mean, we're getting off, but on
Yeah,
a
yeah. My
tangent. But
wife
when it
worked
comes,
in local news for fucking 15 years, so like I know I'm into it. Not
yeah,
anymore, but
they're- look, some of them are bright, some of them are not so bright. And it also depends upon what station and all that
mm-hmm.
stuff. We can get back to that in a minute. But as far as Aaron is concerned, he had that morning show. It was successful in as much as it maintained an audience. They sold ads. He was fine, but he had to think he was bigger than he was. He had to think he was smarter than he was, and
Yep.
he went after the woman in Iowa that got the job that he wanted.
Yeah.
Um,
His
but
emotions and ego fucking took control over him, and he ruined his career.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So it
And
doesn't mean he's
unfortunately,
not
we
talented. It just means he's
no
not smart,
right, right. Those two don't have to go hand in hand for sure. I know a lot of
or
very
no
talented
self
people that are
control.
retarded.
No, it's amazing. This is Deb Aaron and his evangelical begging show bores me to tears.
Mm,
And that's like the begging thing is developed over time, and that's what Aaron does. If you tell Aaron not to do something, he's going to double down and do it more. And even if it's good advice, he's
yeah.
not going to take it. And if you got to watch this thing in the last week where uh, Moody had talked to Paul Shea,
Mm,
the operations manager at Town Square, and uh, one day Aaron is saying how Town Square is Paul and he were friends, and he had asked him. Paul was the operations manager, and then by the next week, when he found out Paul didn't like him, Paul was a uh, low-level middle manager with an axe to grind,
that's funny.
who
I heard
begged
the
who
part
begged him.
from I heard before or I saw I guess last week's Little Piggy with when Moody brought that up, but I didn't see Aaron's reaction. So that was his reaction, like, oh, he was shitting on that guy.
Yeah, his reaction was that everybody knows that Town Square is shit. Um,
Well, that's who
he
he
would
was begging
never
for a job, right?
he would
Yeah.
never want to go to work for them. And the only reason why he responded was because he was at a friend's wedding, and it's mutual friend, and Paul had begged the mutual friend to get Aaron to contact him.
Yeah, sure.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
how
guy's
do
a
you live
weird
the lie
dude.
though, huh?
But he does have talent. He's a weird guy, has no personal skills, no real skills in life, but he can talk. That's it. And he
He
fucked that
does.
up though, because he got in his own way. And
Yeah.
we all do. We all do. But he puts his whole life out there on a thing for all of us to watch. So this is why we comment on it. It's his fault.
Oh no, he doesn't. He only shows us what he wants to show us. We don't know anything about.
Yeah. But he's not hard.
I'm kidding.
No,
Yeah.
those guys do it. The guys that do it, like Melton, Pretty Antisocial, they all do it very well. Like they figure this motherfucker out in a way that it's cool. You can see, it's things I can't see. They pointed out. I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense.
I know. He is he's not that complicated, but you have to know where to look. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much. Uh, it's funny because I was like with the little piggy thing, I'm like, ah, they got him. They got him, and the way he spun it and just blew it off. Um, I do like how pretty antisocial has really become a bug under his skin.
Oh, totally.
Like he just can't stop, and he never insults them when he's throwing insults for what they're doing. It's always about how they look, their age, uh, their obsession with him. He never really deals with the facts.
Yeah,
And
because yeah, that's what people do. They have no argument, no comeback. They say things that don't even really make sense. Like they'll call you a pedophile, or you're fat, or why don't you like this
right,
guy? Oh, because he's fat. That's not a good argument. I mean, yeah.
it's how many times can you call the guy fat? That was,
I
you
mean
know.
that one's easy.
Anyway,
They're all easy. They're all just easy, fucking low hanging fruit comebacks that a lot of these dudes do that have no real argument. You would
no
think that he
zero.
would actually like try to, he doesn't pick up a pen, like Ray would say. He's never picked up a pen for his comebacks. It's just off the dome all the time, and he's not quick enough for it. Because that's harder to be quick, off the cuff. He doesn't have that.
No, and it's all everything he does is deflection. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's he's like the little kid with the axe in his hand and the couch chopped to pieces. It's like I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And instead of I didn't do it, it's like I don't know. Why don't you ask Susie? Susie was in the she was here. I just picked this up as I walked by. He's unbelievable.
I just don't get how that motherfucker maintains his lifestyle just doing that. Like, I don't know. How does he pay his bills? I guess he makes enough money doing that. Doesn't
He
get it.
he does make he do. I look. I don't know how much of um, what he says is actually true, but he definitely does make money. So it may be if he says 350, he's actually making 200. But if you're making 200 twice a day and you're living in the Midwest and you have low child support and all that stuff, um, maybe you can get away with it.
I don't know, man. I don't know how he just lives with himself. That he thinks that's I don't know. Get a fucking real job.
No, he probably. I mean, he probably should. The the way that I understand his gig at the radio station is that he essentially sold all the airtime. So he was basically funding his own operation. And, they were happy to keep him as long as he was in trouble.
Yeah,
And he
it's
could
like a
sell. And
pay to
then
play
once he
thing.
became a problem, it was like, let's get rid of him.
Yeah, why would you? He wasn't good. He was buying or selling his own airtime to stay on, which is weird. That's not. I've never heard of that, but I'm not in the radio industry. But that's not something that's like, oh, look, I'm good at the radio. No, you just because you can do that here. There's a station in my town. I could go pay them to be on at a certain time. I think that's
Right.
just that you can
The,
do that. I didn't know about that, but you can do that.
the least time thing,
Yeah,
WABC that Anthony's on, and all the AM stations in New York, but particularly on Sundays, um, ABC, Saturdays and Sundays, ABC would have all these lease time programs like Dr. Dale, and then there was the New Jersey Diet Doctor,
yeah.
um, and chiropractors and stuff like that would come on.
My
And
local talk radio station, they every time I listen to it, they're trying to get people. Oh, if you have an outdoor interest and you want to be on you want to have your own show, call. So they're always still trying to do that shit because no one listens to radio. It's the worst.
yeah, I mean,
I don't listen.
I don't want to say no one listens to radio, but
Yeah, you're right.
the numbers of people that used to listen to radio don't. But I mean, just watch even cable TV. Just watch it. I mean, if you watch it during the day, all it is pharmaceutical ads and and adult diapers. It's that tells you who's watching it,
Yeah,
right?
I
Which
try not to watch.
yeah, I haven't seen it in forever. The only time I really do see it is if I'm like in a doctor's office or someplace like that,
Yeah,
where I'm stuck and it's on air. And but
yeah, I
you
get it.
know, we're
My
talking about
in-laws.
local news. When I lived in the city, there was New York One, which
Hmm.
was like the local Time Warner thing, and it was different because they were the the people on there actually seemed like they knew what they were doing, and they weren't pretty blondes and whatnot. But I've heard that that's changed dramatically over the last few years, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. There's you can just throw on YouTube and there's like 15 news stations that do like live news all day, breaking news coverage everywhere. And I don't know where they get some of the streams from, but it's like better than the networks, in my opinion.
I try to avoid watching the news. My wife likes the CBS morning news
Hmm.
and puts it on every day, and I'm like constantly. I'll walk in the room and I'll be like, "How can you watch this shit?"
Yeah, it's like it's a habit though. People get into a habit.
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of the Dabbleverse is habit viewing for a lot of people now. They're just used to at 4 o'clock throwing on MLC. You know, they're like, oh shit, finishing out my work day or whatever they're doing, cooking dinner, doing the dishes, throwing on MLC. It's a lot of habit watching, and then they get involved. That's why I like podcasts and shit like that more because you can get involved. There's viewer feedback. That's a shit.
I I interestingly enough, and I don't know why. I mean, I used to watch MLC at 4 o'clock. There were other shows on at 4 o'clock, but it was always the Dabbleverse at 4 o'clock. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I would watch Shuley at 7 or 8, whatever. And I haven't watched either one of them in quite a while.
No,
You know,
that's why I got addicted to Melton because he was when I started watching he was doing the morning show and it was perfect because I was like it was right when I woke up a little bit before sometimes and I'm getting the kids ready for school, doing my whole morning routine, get ready for work, everything, and then right when I'm about to go to work he's off for the day and it is like perfect every day. I'd start my like a nice little because I like to have background noise. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've always I put on something in my head while I'm doing my shit. I love it.
yeah. I I used to listen to these several news podcasts, um, more opinion and in-depth looks as opposed to the news
Yeah.
uh, stuff. And then I got into Melton, and I was listening to Melton in the mornings, and I
Yeah.
hadn't even thought about that until you just said it.
Well, I mean, I listened to Opie and Anthony when they were on from like 2005 until they left in 2015 or whatever when they canceled. Then whatever replaced that on there, I did that for a while. So I've always been like a morning show person. It's good stuff.
I I followed O and A were originally on in the afternoons, and I followed them to mornings, and then they got fired. They were gone for a couple of years, and they came back to Sirius, and I listened to them there. Um, but I can't. I haven't listened to a traditional morning radio station in forever.
Yeah, no. Since O&A went off, that's the last time I stopped watching. I've tried to
And
like watch, some Fox News in the morning, but those people they're just too fucking weird for me. I can't get into it. Or even the other side. And I try to watch The View or something like that in the morning. Like just no,
it,
can't watch The View.
it's the whole thing. I find it all just all. It's like I'd rather read. I read the Wall Street Journal every day, but I'm like, I'd rather read a newspaper. I can get it quicker and
Yeah.
without all the fancy spin and whatnot. So it's
On? So do you read news on your phone now instead of like the paper?
I
Like
do, yeah. I don't.
what website or app do you use for news?
I use the Wall Street Journal app.
Oh,
It's my.
okay.
I use the. I use the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and the Washington Post apps. Um,
Some of those you got to pay for though. I think the Wall Street Journal you got to pay. No,
you would
or is
have
it?
to pay.
Yeah,
It's worth paying for me.
yeah.
I mean, I used to
Good.
get the paper. I used to get the actual paper,
Okay.
and what was happening was is I would read them every day, and then over a period of time, I noticed, well, I had read the paper, but the actual paper was piling up because I was reading them on the phone. And then they couldn't find a delivery person. And
No
I
shit.
called to cancel, and I was like, because I wasn't, like, half the week I wasn't getting deliveries, any of that stuff. And I called and I got a guy, and he was in Jersey, and he was like, yeah, this is a problem all over the country. You know, and
I'm
you
not
used to
surprised.
you used to be able to get the Wall Street Journal. You used to get it in the mail, and it would come the same day. And then for some reason, it just started coming a day late, 2 days late. And when I talked to, like, had called and talked to them, they were like, "Yeah, the postal service changed the way that it does stuff." So that's where we are. So in any event, let's. Oh shit! I had a cupcake down there, and he
Oh, is
disappeared.
Cupcake here?
Yeah, hopefully he'll come back.
Hell yeah.
And I think he saw me. I was waiting for you to finish. And
He
hold
knows
on.
the postal system well. He's always sending out people postcards from his
He
travels.
sends he sends the
That's
postcards.
fucking dope that he does that.
He he's pretty cool, man, with that stuff. And
Totally.
he's got he does some other stuff. I talk to him a few times a week, and he's pretty cool.
No, I always wanted to like travel around, drive a truck or something, but I can't drive. I hate driving. I'm really bad at driving, so I couldn't drive a truck. But I think it's cool to fucking travel for work. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, I've traveled for work. I couldn't drive a truck either.
Yeah.
I would be just so bored and crazy. I've always thought driving a truck would be cool because I'd be alone and I'd be able to listen to things, but um, I can't.
I wouldn't mind that. It's the actual like driving the truck. I don't think I could back it up. I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, physically driving it would be hard for me. I hate driving. Not good at it.
Oh, I like driving.
No.
My my wife got a new car this week, and
Oh,
I
nice.
haven't been in it yet. And in the past, I've always driven. No matter what we do, I always drive. And apparently, I'm not going to be driving the Tucson. I'll be lucky. I'll be lucky if I'm allowed in it. Um, but it's pretty fun. So I sent Cupcake the link again. Uh, what have you any Dabbleverse stuff that you've been interested in the last couple of days?
Hmm, not really, man. I guess Chad did an after show with Mr. Kill Everything last night. I didn't see it, but I saw a couple clips. Pretty interesting. Chad's branching out, hanging out with the enemies, I guess, like Mr. Kill. Um,
He's got the $1 million deal, but Mr. Kill was on MLC like a week ago.
yeah, I guess he was on last night too, because I think they were both on. I was on
That
BYB last night. We were hanging out.
I actually saw
Um,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
I was
cool.
there at one point because you're so Mr. Smooth Jazz, and there was yelling going on,
Yeah.
and between Tukey and I thought, or 2K and I thought you, and
Oh no, it
I
wasn't me.
realized it wasn't you.
Yeah.
You were behind the QR code, so it was somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. It was gay guitar guy from the show Soup Party. He's on it. He has his own show, the Soup Party. He doesn't like 2K. He thinks puppets are gay, and also on top of that, 2K is stealing Tukey's bit in his
Right.
eyes. So, but 2K is entertaining in his own right, and it's just a dumb gag. He doesn't show his face type of thing. Like it's a
Yeah.
workaround. He wants to stream but not show his face. There you go. It
I'm just
works.
not a fan of those. Like, look, I don't mind an argument and a little
Yeah,
bit of yelling, but some of those shows, they lose me because it's just yelling back and forth, and
yeah.
I'm not, you know, I'm
I
not,
just kind
I'm
of
not
I
there.
sat
I'm not.
back a little bit and just let that. I'm just glad I'm not involved in the argument, so it's good just to watch as a bystander.
Yeah, I
But
have the
it
type
was
of
it was silly.
personality that has to get involved in it.
Yeah, I used to. If I was when I was drinking a bunch, yeah, I would have been yelling over everybody and causing a scene, making it about me. But
Yeah, I like making it about me, but I had no idea. I was like Uncle Jack. I mean, I know that he's liked and people like him, but it's just I don't get it. You know,
yeah, no,
um,
I don't get it
there's
either.
just a lot of yelling and a lot of raging going on, and I'm like, ah. But
Mm,
and no point. It's
it
not
gets
like they're
views,
arguing about anything else, but it does get views. Yeah.
but not a lot, and it's real quick, and it goes over, and then it's done, and no one cares. I was on Uncle Jack's show a few times, but someone paid $40 to get me kicked off, so I haven't been back since.
That's cool.
That
Hey,
yeah, that shit happens. You deal with
if
it.
you're worth $40 on that, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite things with MLC back in the beginning when people would pay $200 to whoa, hit the wrong button here. 200
Yeah.
bucks to kick off Stevie Lou.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But
yeah, I
but
was
at least KB was paying Stevie Lou. I didn't even get paid.
no, right? They didn't give you a
No,
piece of it.
I'm just joking. I don't care. Yeah, but the arguing it gets too much. Some people, but it doesn't last long, and then your show can't always be about that. So you can't try to have that all the time. You still have to have some kind of content eventually.
Right. And I have to get angry. I can't fake being angry.
Yeah.
And most stuff doesn't make me angry. Most of it I just don't
No, you
care
seem
about.
pretty laid back and chill, dude. I feel like it would be hard to get you pretty pissed off. Like it would have to be something that
Oh
really
no. It's pretty
no, but
easy to get me.
oh, maybe so. But I feel like in the streaming world, so to speak, like maybe in your normal life, yeah, you could get pissed. But on here, for you to get oh, you know what? I did see you were pretty pissed that one time. Ski Mask
Joey
was
C.
on. No, Ski Mask.
Oh, ski mask, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I was super angry because I was convinced that Quad set me up, and Quad had asked me to come on. Gino and I have had a long running confrontational relationship, and Quad had asked me to come on, and Gino and I were supposed to hash it out, and then he had ski mask on, and it was just ski mask, ski mask, ski mask, and
yeah.
cock, 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 and I just don't find that interesting at all.
Hello,
We're bringing
boys.
the energy, folks.
What's up, man?
American Cupcake is here.
No, dude,
What's up,
honestly, that
cupcakes?
episode was entertaining though. Like you and Ski Mask arguing and Gino trying that was entertaining to an extent, you know.
I no, I get that. I get that it was. I get that it was entertaining, but it was only entertaining for a while.
Yeah.
The ski mask went on too long, and I'm still convinced that Gino had ski mask on just as a deflection or diversion from the rest of us, because it was, from what I've been told, assuming it's true, Ski Mask got to Quad maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the show and wanted to come on, and he had heard that from Gino, and Gino doesn't. He didn't. Gino is not like a guy. He yells a lot of stuff, but you can't get serious with him. You can't ask him a serious question because he's not going to answer it. He's going to do what he can do to avoid it. Now, I know Gino is on Cupcake's postcard list, so I, I don't want to say anything too bad about him. Cupcake, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I'm just home. I saw you sent me the link. I was downstairs at the bar, and I was like, oh shit, Schmuel sent me the link. Like, I'll be right
You
back.
got you got
So
audio problems, buddy.
I do.
Yeah,
What do they sound like?
you're chopping. Is that what the word is? Crumb,
little crackly maybe.
crackly.
That was an accident.
It's not the Schmuel talk without
How's
audio
that? Is that any
issues.
better?
You sound like shit, to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh no way! Like I was fucking sounding really.
It's yeah.
You're in and out.
Wait, you know what? Do you have any of on StreamYard? Do you have any of the settings like echo cancellation, any of that? Turn those all off. Like go into StreamYard audio settings. You got the echo cancellation, reduce mic background noise, all that shit. Turn that all off. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes that helps.
Is that any better?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You want to try to
sounding
reboot?
ouch.
You want to try to
Yeah, turn it
reboot?
off.
Yeah, let me
Off,
out. Come
turn
on,
it
come back in. This was sounding
Cool.
great.
Cool.
Then I could hear myself talking back. Did you hear that?
Yeah. He has a newish setup, so maybe that's
Yeah. No,
part of
I
the
mean,
problem.
dude, all these things are an issue. Like, they're a problem. It's hard to figure it out. One day it sounds great. The next day you come on, it sounds like shit.
Well, it's also tough too because you don't have anybody to bounce it off of before you come on.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to get set up. I told the story earlier. So Thursday night, I think I did a stream, and my audio was completely fucked up, among other things. But my mic is low, nobody could hear me, and I have a new mic, and I just was trying to figure it all out, and I realized yesterday or today that I was speaking into the wrong side of the microphone.
Yep. Yep. Oh, it has like it tells you what side to talk into.
It's the carotid, like it's got
Okay,
a pattern, and
yeah.
so apparently it's forgiving on the sides and in front, but it doesn't do any noise from the back to try to keep background noise down.
Gotcha.
All right, let's give my boy here another try.
Is that any better?
Yeah, yeah.
Much better.
Hello,
Much better.
testing 1, 2, 3.
You're yeah. Except we're hearing ourselves back.
Really?
Do you have like your speakers on or something?
No, I got headphones on.
You sound better though. I can hear myself. I don't care. I sound.
But we echo every time you talk. Well, we talk. Sam Bibley. Hey, buddy. Glad you're here. So now I'm echoing on the stream.
Oh, was it an echoing stream?
Yeah. I think it's the cupcake thing. Let me just say. If I mute cupcake, it goes away.
I don't even know how to resolve that issue.
Try turning echo cancellation back on.
Oh yeah, that might be it. Good one, Chris Mack. Damn, I sound like the fuck.
Sam, I would love to get Dave in here.
That works.
I think that worked.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cupcake. We solved the problem.
Yay.
Luckily, this is not a show and we're not professionals.
Oh,
Teamwork.
fantastic.
So we're here on Saturday. Are we up against KB? Is KB on?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, we're stealing numbers from him though. What you got? How many people are on here? 13? No, 9. 9's pretty good.
9. Oh, we had 13 before.
Yeah.
I think we lost them with the news radio talk.
Yeah. We were droning on about, and then my slow, boring voice putting people to sleep.
Like an NPR DJ.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you just want to put the little thing here and then touch it there.
When I worked, I drove a cab for a couple of summers, and one of our dispatchers was a guy who did nighttime radio at a station in New York, a really small station, an ethnic station, and he would use his nighttime radio voice dispatching. Number three, go get a 480 Bayview to the path mark. And it was funny because it was like the golden voice. And Mr. Belusi, MBS, the trick is to make us all fall asleep before we switch to MLC. Yeah, we'll try to avoid doing that. So did any of you guys see the Nick Rekieta last night on The Biggest Problem?
No.
So let's see if we can. I'm gonna pull it back just a sec. Let me just say. So I had no idea who Dick Masterson and Vito Gesualdi were until Hackamania last year when I
Right.
went and they did a podcast. All right, you were there, Cupcake, and they're pretty goddamn funny. And they had Nick on. Nick is a friend of Dick Masterson. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I don't care. Um, but he, this is his way of talking. I think is probably a better way of talking about your case than Aaron. But let's look at this and listen.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough for a while. I don't know. Like the government decided to put a strap on really go to town on me for a while.
Don't
But-
threaten me with a good time.
It's but it's mostly over now.
Oh, okay.
I'll be sentenced next month, and like my sentence is really simple. It's like just don't drink or do drugs for a while.
How long's a
Simple.
while? Do you know?
Wow.
No, we get to argue about that. So it's kinda
Cool.
cool.
You get to argue about at what point. Like, I could probably do some more drugs at this point,
Yeah, I
right?
can do some drugs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
The drinking though, that's annoying. Like, why does drinking get lumped in with drugs?
It's a dumb thing that, in my opinion, dumb that Minnesota does. If there's
Yeah.
a substance.
So, in any event, Nick was on. He's looking better. I don't like the guy. I don't have any love for him either way. But he was on, and he talks about the case. I don't want to bore people with the video, but he talks about the case, and when he talks about it, he's very measured. He explains the stuff that happened. He admits to, he had drugs and things like that. So it's not like him. He's not prostrating himself in front of us, but he's also not denying the reality. So he's not doing an Aaron where he's trying to make us all feel better.
Right.
But the greatest line of the night was Vito when he said to Nick, they were talking about T-shirts, and paraphrasing, but it was Vito saying to Nick that Aaron is walking around with I came to fuck your wife and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. And I thought that was great. I wish I could be as funny as them. All right, let's see what Chris Mack has
My
to
only
say.
problem with Nick is that everyone still thinks he's whatever. He's good now because he's not friends with Aaron, but he was friends with Aaron. His judgment is so poor that he thinks Aaron is a good dude to have around and then let Aaron fuck his wife. Yeah, he fucked Aaron's wife, but he let Aaron fuck his wife too. Come on.
Right.
He gets a pass? Why?
Right. But
Wouldn't so much call
wasn't
it
it?
a pass.
What,
I would
right.
just say-
Wasn't
No, he does.
Fucking,
He's like he's the best now. People love him.
I mean, you want
I don't love.
the long and short of it,
Some-
is he wanted to bang April. That's it.
Yeah, I get it. But
And
he's
Steel Toe's that much of a loser where, I did cocaine 3 or 4 times. I couldn't believe it. I was addicted. Like he's such a loser that Nick
Yeah.
was like, all right, I'm going to totally bang this dude's wife.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
think
I think
Nick
like
decided he
Mr.
wanted to
Blue
bang-
Sky said, they're trash all around. They're just a bunch
Right.
of trash people.
Right.
Oh,
No
A-
judgment,
abs-
but
absolutely, and I'm coming to realize that the universe, not Dabbleverse, but Dabbleverse adjacent, is also full of trash.
yeah.
And this Ethan Ralph guy has been making appearance. Now I don't know who these guys are, right? Like I don't know them from years and years, but my initial impression of them was back when I heard about them that they were like right-wing grifters, right?
Mm.
And just as, and I don't mean right-wing as a pejorative, just to place them as opposed to, left-wing grifters. Like there's the
Mhm.
Rachel Maddows of the world that are really smart, but there's others like, the Midas Touch brothers and, even
Yeah.
Stuttering John, where we ignore everything to get to our point, and these guys on the right, and they the deal is they're supposed to be the moral center, and if anything, they've proved themselves worse than anyone on the left could ever have been.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that's why Nick he didn't really fall as far as I thought he would because he was posing as somebody that was like this, great dad, family guy, lawyer. That's where he made his bones or his money at least was being a law guy, a law tuber, being I
Right.
don't know. And then it turns around a year later you're fucking some shitty podcaster's wife and doing coke and your kids are taken away from you. It's like, okay. And
right,
it's a great story. And he's
he
turned himself around. He's admitted to it, which is good for him. I mean, God bless him. I hope the best for him, honestly. But I just don't
right, but
see
wasn't
his
he also
draw.
making money?
He made
Like
tons of
part of
money.
his whole law tubing thing was he was also the right wing trad dad.
Yeah, yeah,
The
exactly.
wife
Yeah,
and five kids, and they're going to church and doing all that. But at the same time, he was swinging, going to
yeah,
hedonism, doing all this other stuff.
yeah. That bothers me when people use their family as a almost a grift. That's using, you know, I don't know.
I,
I'm not going to judge the
cupcake.
guy on that.
I, I don't cupcake. I don't know if it's your internet or whatever, but you look like you're like a NASA astronaut in 1969, where you're
I'm on the
moving
moon.
very slowly and we can't really hear your
No, I noticed we
video.
were all kind of doing that a minute ago. I was
Okay.
frozen for a second. I thought it was on the
Yeah.
stream.
All right, well, I'll
Okay.
hop off, dude. I just wanted to stop in and say hi.
Cool. Dude, we want you here. If we
It's
could
probably
fix
just
that,
the
I'd
internet.
love to.
Honestly, the internet's shit today.
Yeah,
No, I think,
I'll just go back downstairs.
well, that's what you usually do, right? You stream me from the bar. We've
Nice.
done a couple of those.
Dude, living
Yeah,
above a
now he's
bar,
frozen,
that's got to be
frozen.
dangerous.
Streaming from the bar.
No, just living above a bar. I don't think I could do that.
He likes it. He's not there that much, so and he enjoys it. But if I
I
was
would
there
be
every
there.
day, could you imagine
Yeah.
like being a stuttering John and being there?
Oh, dude, just
The
being
Aussie
me.
guy, my friend Dean. Aaron is such a goof. It's enjoyable to make fun of him. Nick is just a boring guy. When he's out of Aaron stories, I'll like go back to not caring about anything Nick says. Yeah, I think that there's a Nick story there. Like I think the fact that he was doing all the right wing stuff and the Mr. Law tuber and all that shit, and at the same time living this other life. Like I think there's a story there. I just
Oh,
don't think
totally.
that any of his enemies or on the other side of it are capable of attacking it.
Yeah, like a porcelain style documentary would be fantastic on that
Right.
whole thing. I mean, even a Melton porcelain Melton doc would be great. This is what bothered me about porcelain's documentaries is that he worked with Kevin on Kevin's, so it was basically just a puff piece for Kevin. It was fucking
Right.
gay.
He was,
That one sucked.
yeah, he said some like there was some negative things about him, but it wasn't really an honest portrayal, I guess.
No, no. There's another guy that does some shit like that. What's his name? Beige Frequency. You should look into him. He does some pretty good ones. Not even Dabbleverse involved. He does some wrestlers and shit too. It's pretty good.
He recently did a Kumia one, which I haven't seen.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, but I know most of the Kumia story and the things that he's done. And if you listen to O&A through the years, you would hear about this stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
him taking the high school girl to the prom. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
was part of their show.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about it. But here's the problem. Beige
Yeah.
Frequency is great. He did a 5-hour one on Kumia. 5 hours is way too long,
Yeah.
way too long. Um, Porcelain's KB doctor made me like definitely puff. Yeah, but is KB of today the KB that he was when Porcelain did the documentary? Right?
Probably not. And that was only like 2 years ago, maybe 3.
KB is reminds me that, the story of the frog in the hot water, right? Like, when does he know how to get out? And it's like, the water, KB has just gotten crazier and crazier over time, and we're used to him in the beginning. So if we're not looking at him new, but if we were looking at him new, we'd be like, I'd want to have nothing to do with this guy. But a
Yeah, I
lot of
mean,
people are still in.
he doesn't have a good trajectory. Like, where does he go? He's the top of the Dabbleverse, but like, where do you go from there? Does it translate to something better? No.
No,
He's
you
just
can only
hoping he
go
gets.
down, right?
Yeah, he's only the best he can do is get some more super chats. That's it. I
And
hope he's got a good retirement plan.
when it comes to super chats, this was like, I would go back to when Stuttering John would be, what was the guy's name? The Legend would send him $50,
Mm.
right? Super chat me $50. I'd be like, hey, don't super chat me 50. Venmo me 40, you know?
Yeah.
Um, or but it's so important for them for the money coming in to be public. They're willing to give up 30 to 50% of it.
Which is crazy that
Right.
like just on a business sense that KB couldn't put his differences aside with Melton just to get super tips. Just go on super like you're gonna save yourself a fuckload of money, dude. Like what are you doing?
Right.
I don't understand
But
it, but I'm not
no,
a
they can't.
businessman.
Yeah. It's some people, you can't get out of your own way. And
Or
and
just his
Kevin also
hate.
complaining about the you know Google taking the money that they take. Imagine your costs if you had to set up the infrastructure. Look at what happened to Kumia after 10 years, right? You just
Hmm.
can't afford it anymore.
Oh
You
yeah.
need servers, you need all that stuff.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
it's
obviously
tough.
you can do it pretty cheaply. Kevin has proved that. He puts zero into it. I mean, that mic he has, that setup he has, is probably under $500, everything included. You know?
Yeah, so it's like just free money almost, It's
Yeah.
like 2 hours a day that he's not watching a true crime documentary
I
that
mean,
he's
I'm sure he's
making.
doing great. He's good for him, but how sustainable? How long is it sustainable? Is the question. And I'm honestly surprised he's still been doing this for like 2 years solid,
I,
and it's
I've been
working.
asking I've been asking that question for 2 years,
Yeah.
right? Like, I predicted this was going to end, he was going to end a lot sooner than that, but he's still making money.
I think it just proves how good the fans are of the Dabbleverse. And I've always said this: there's some of the best like fans of shows in this little sphere because they pour tons of money in. They go to fucking shows, they go to live shows, they buy merch, they buy you know what I mean? Like myself included. We subscribe, we send in super chats. So I mean, it is good if you can get your finger in there. I'm not. That's why Chad does it. He's getting a little piece of the pie. They all are. Good for them.
Yeah, the thing I think about Brennan though is that Brennan makes more money from a smaller group of people
Yeah.
than most of the other people. So it's like when Brennan lost like Jason Bentley, he lost he needs somebody big to replace him.
Yeah. He's got
You know?
Gustav. He's got a lot of heavy hitters. So does Melton. They got some dudes that just like you know disposable income. Speak of the devils. Here's one of
Panhandle.
them. He's
KB
the
can't get off
supplier.
the needle.
No,
Exactly.
you should
As
send Panhandle the link. He's
as
a
Deb
good
says.
egg.
I've invited Panhandler on so many times. He keeps telling me he's going to do the show. He's going to
Oh,
do the
okay.
show, and he just ignores me. So now I'm going to make him wait. Now that he's here, no, I'd love to have Panhandler on, but I want to argue with Panhandler about politics.
Nice.
Panhandler describes himself as an anarcho cap. Okay, I can't pronounce anarcho. Fuck,
You got it.
you know what I'm saying?
Capitalist.
Right. Right. He's an anarchist
Anarchist.
capitalist. Right. So it's
Anarchy
an
capitalist.
anarcho capitalist.
Anarcho capitalist.
I can't get the words out. But yeah, which I haven't quite
Those are hard
figured out
words.
what the hell that is. There you go. ANCAP. He's an ANCAPper.
I didn't
So
know that.
I met Panhandler in AC, and what a good guy.
Yeah, he seems like a
Just
really cool guy.
just a good guy. I also would not want to get into a physical altercation with him. He's
Yeah,
quite
he's a good dude.
the beefy individual.
Oh, is he? Tall, fucking big dude.
Yeah, tall. He's not big. He's big, like physically built, not big and fat.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. No, he
So
doesn't come off as a fatty.
it's a healthy guy. Yeah. So Panhandler, I'm an
He's
asshole.
an asshole.
We're all
Yeah.
assholes, but Panhandler had an interesting tweet yesterday, which was he's been sober for 2 years and he hates being sober. I don't know if that's actually he doesn't hate being sober. He hates not drinking, and
I know. I get that.
it was quite refreshing to hear a guy say that. Yeah.
Do you have you've been sober for a long time? Do you feel the same? Like,
Yeah, about it'll be
yeah.
9 years in October, so about 8.5 years, and I still miss it, you know.
Yeah. I
And
say the same thing about like painkillers. I was addicted to painkillers for years, and it's been about 12 years since I stopped doing them, but I fucking miss it every day. I loved them, love them, you know. So I get that sentiment completely. Like drinking is fun still too, but
I enjoy. Look,
I don't miss it as much as I miss doing other drugs. I guess.
yeah. Well, I don't do the other drugs either, and I don't get high. Like I don't take any mood altering drugs at all. So
You're like
I miss
sober. You're not even
I miss all
I'm
that stuff.
California sober. I still smoke weed and I eat weed. I'll eat mushrooms and shit like that, but just not drinking right now. But you don't even do anything, right? No,
No,
no.
I'm sober, and I it, I I'm not in. I don't think I'm annoying in the telling other people to get sober, but I do have to say that I will. I sometimes see guys in the Dabbleverse that are just getting high all day long, and uh, I try to discourage them from doing that
Yeah. No,
because
yeah.
life goes by really quick. Ron Bennington, you know Ron, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally.
In one of the things that Ron said that I thought was so true is that downs, drugs that bring you down, are so easy to get addicted to,
Mhm.
and the benzos, the oxys, all of that stuff. Uh, it just it makes you feel so good.
Mhm. Yeah,
It
it's
just
like a warm
you know
blanket. Always.
right,
Yeah.
and you can only do so much cocaine, and
I've never done cocaine, so I don't know. I've been more of a downer kind of guy.
you have to try a variety of drugs. Or how else do you
I
know what you
I
don't like?
I did meth once, and I did like it. I liked it so much actually that I was like, I'll never do this again because I think I will become a meth head. Like it was one of those things. Like I would like it too much, and I know myself, so there's no way I was gonna do it again because I was like, yeah, this is great. I can see why people get addicted to it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so but I would imagine it's similar to coke, right? Like in
I've never done coke, so
the
I
effect,
don't know.
yeah, I mean
I
the
don't know.
effects and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from what I hear, like Coke never sounded really fun to me either. So I don't know. I never had an appeal for Coke.
Coke was fun.
Was it?
It was definitely fun, yeah. Because it was just like it would get you so wired, but in such a positive way. You just exuding positive energy, and you had tons of it. And even an unattractive guy like me would you'd just be women would it was great, man. Like you would just have so much fun
And
on
now
it.
I want to try it. But see,
And
I'm
that
too afraid now. Like if I was somewhere and someone's like, I got some Coke, I'd be like, no, because it's fentanyl in my mind. All I think of is like,
right.
I'm gonna die. I'm never gonna see my kids again because I wanted to fucking try some Coke. No, I'm good. That's all I
Yeah.
think about nowadays. That's a
Yeah.
good point, Deb.
So I tell a story about this. So there's a charity, um, involves dentists and stuff like that, and it goes around. Not goes it goes around. It tries to help meth addicts replace their teeth, right?
Hmm.
To get a full set of teeth. And I know a guy who they gave him a brand new set of teeth. I never saw teeth as nice as these fucking teeth. And within 2 weeks, he was dead. He OD'd,
Oh no.
and apparently you can't get the teeth back. And you know but they did put him through a lot of stuff before he got it done. So, but I guess there's no telling.
Yeah,
And
that's sad.
I I go to a 12-step group now with another guy who's actually having the same thing.
I need new
But
teeth.
there
Not from meth,
there's
but I could use some
there's
teeth.
the interim where they take out all your teeth,
Yeah.
and it and so I saw Bob Levy like that. Like take out all the teeth, and you don't realize how much of your face the appearance is
Hmm.
because you have teeth. And I
Yeah.
saw Bob, and I'm like, somebody should have told him not to stream
No, why
while
would
he
he?
while he had no teeth.
Yeah, but Bob's an addict too. He's addicted to streaming, I feel. He can't get enough of it.
Well, I think he needs the money.
Yeah, yeah, most likely, I would think. But
Yeah.
he can't be making that. Like someone like Bob, for example, he can't be making that much money doing this, right?
No, I don't think so. But
That's
Bob's
why he's constantly on. Yeah.
even his right, but look, even in his old age, he's like a dreamer. He's
Hmm.
constantly got a new plan. He's constantly got something that's going to come up. Um, he's going to do this. He's going to be in a movie. He's going to do that. He's going um, all of these things. So
Yeah. No.
you know,
And you know what? He's not wrong. He might one day hit, and it's still very possible. He could do one thing, and then it just fucking blows up, and boom, he's got to deal with you know, like Bonnie McFarland. All of a sudden, she's like this comedy writer writing for fucking shows and other woke ass people. You know what I mean? Like, it could happen for him. He could get hired onto something. So there's still a possibility.
yeah. But Bonnie is Bonnie. I mean, Bonnie has been successful for a long time.
I
It's not
see.
like
I don't when I watched Bonnie or heard of or knew of Bonnie, she was Voss's wife, and she'd be on sitting in the back or calling in when he was on O&A. And then like the next thing I know, I turn around and she's like shitting on Voss because she's more successful now. So I missed where she got successful, but I know she's successful. But I just missed that part.
right.
You know what I mean?
My camera may go off for a second. Hold on.
Oh, you're good. I don't know. And then I looked her up one day and I looked at her credits. Oh, she wrote for the Hocus Pocus 2. That movie was garbage. So whatever she's doing, yeah, she got paid, but she's just fucking putting out garbage.
Yeah, you're
Hocus
still able to
Pocus.
hear me, right?
Yeah.
Just give me a sec. My camera shit the bed, so I've got to reactivate it.
Yeah, Panhandler's right. Bob can't read. He's terrible as the guy. He was decent, balanced to KB, and it was helpful getting some guests. 100%. Bob is a good second mic. That's what he should be doing.
Exactly.
He was stupid to ever fucking ruin his gig with KB or leave Shuli's thing. He was probably getting a nice paycheck from them.
Yeah, he didn't really leave. He didn't leave KB as much as KB tossed him out,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
right? Because he had that. They had the infamous phone call. He had a phone call with Chad when Levy was fighting. When I'm sorry, when Kevin was fighting with Chad, and
Yeah.
Kevin got paranoid and thought they were trying to fuck him. It was the first Atlantic City,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know? And I mean KB says that Bob quit, but I seem to remember it as as much
Yeah, remember he
of
quit on
Bob being
payday.
fired.
That's right. He quit on payday. Who quits on payday? Who quits on payday?
Yeah, you don't
In
get
Kevin's
paid if you
mind,
quit on
you don't
payday.
get
I was like,
paid if you quit.
that's ridiculous. Let's pop back to what do you call it though? Chris Mack. She's always been funnier than Voss, in my opinion. They just like shitting on Voss more, so he was a frequent guest. Um,
Mm, that's a
yeah,
good
and
point.
look, O and A are not gonna. They just women comedians are not something that they had on a lot, and Voss was well known, and but Bonnie, I always thought Bonnie was more talented than Rich. And Rich doesn't have a great command of the English language, and you know,
Yeah, I
is-
think they're both talented in their own right. Where Voss is good at what he does, which is a road comic. That's what he is. He's a road comic.
mhm.
And Bonnie is a better writer. But that movie she put out, Women Aren't Funny.
I
That movie was
I
good because you saw her ass. That was about it.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't
No.
remember the name of the book. She wrote a book about her sister, who's got Down syndrome,
Oh,
and
right, right.
it was very touching. It was very good. You
No,
know,
she's a good writer. Yeah, totally.
so
And Voss
uh,
cannot speak. He's dumb.
so uh, here's my
Crack
little story.
addict,
So in
by the way.
and at one point in my life, I was doing open mics, and I I was at the Stand in New York City. Was where I would perform, and I was sort of doing okay. And then I got a phone call that I was going to do a gig at the Hoboken Clam Broth House, and
Ooh.
uh, and I went to the Hoboken Clam Broth House, and I was one of the openers there. I think there were two of us, and then a feature, and the headliner was Rich Voss, um, and that was my first time to ever see him, and I was amazed at how well he controlled an audience.
Yeah. So you basically opened for Voss, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but I was so it was so bad. It
That's
was
awesome,
just
though.
so bad.
But that's on your resume, dude. Open for Rich Voss.
Yeah, it's also 20 years ago or 25 years ago.
That's even
Uh,
better.
she's
That's like the
supposedly been
heyday.
writing a movie with Andy Lieberman for the last 2 years. Who knows what that looks like?
Oh god.
She's written a lot of stuff though. I know that she's written
But
for
she got
the late
you
night
know, she
shows.
got real woke though, and she was riding that woke wave, and now it's kind of going away. It's not as, Hollywood's not feeling it as much because they see it's not the best for the box office.
Right. Well, the opposite side of that is I hear the Daily Wire filed for bankruptcy or is filing for bankruptcy. Um, and that guy, the quartering, I guess, is begging for money. And I think what's happening is the like Star Trek with the Borg, the right wing people were have been absorbed by corporate media,
Yeah.
and these guys who've been making money being citizen journalists and
Mm-hmm.
counterattacking and all that stuff. I think their time has come to an end.
No, totally. It's almost. I mean, like Compound. It ran its course, and now he's been absorbed by CBS or ABC. Same thing.
Right. But the thing with the thing with Compound was, I mean, by any measure, it was successful. He ran it for 10 years, right? The problem is he didn't have the balls to confront Gino and like Chrissy Mayer and stuff like that. So he just let them keep going. He just kept
Mm-hmm.
funding it.
Yeah, true.
And if he had cut them or tried to do something else, it would have worked. I probably would have lasted, but this worked. Um, the Gavin thing was working, and so he wound up going with Gavin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a Geno fan, right?
No.
I'm gathering. Yeah. Me neither. I don't know. I don't actually have never really met a Geno fan. Maybe other than Jim Stansel. But
Right.
I mean, I never met him personally, but on the internet. I don't get his appeal. I never got his appeal. I always thought his shtick was fucking lame. Like the screaming and the just constantly moving and the just screaming. It's just it's not
Gino's a
appealing to me.
really nice guy, right? Like,
Sure.
and he's fun to party with, and he's fun to hang around with. And a lot of his prior comedy experience came with Artie Lang, and you know there are rumors that Gino got stage time for uh, helping pick up certain packages for Artie and doing things which wouldn't be a huge surprise. And he and Aaron, when they did In Hot Water, it was a good show. It was a lot of fun. But like anything else, it needed to change and it needed to adjust. Aaron's career was starting to take off. He didn't want to get caught up in all of that, the racist stuff. He had played Colin Kaepernick, he had done some other things, and he didn't want to do it anymore. And Gino wouldn't change.
Yeah, and Aaron he's trying to branch out a little bit too.
Right.
I
That's the
think.
point. And so Gino
Yeah.
would, and Aaron was like, I can't do this. And then there was also Gino's drinking, which was a major problem.
Yeah, that gets in the way.
So,
I've seen Aaron live. He was fucking hilarious.
I,
Great stand up.
I
One of the
see
better ones
him,
I've seen.
yeah, I see him like, I don't know, usually 4 or 5 times a year. But, and we went to dinner not so long ago. He, but I watched him. He was at resorts, right? So it's resorts casino. Aaron is this sort of labeled a Trump guy, and there was probably like 50 people in the room, and it was half or more black. And I was in the elevator with those people as we were leaving, and they were all like, he was the funniest guy they'd seen. They loved and it's like,
I could see that.
he's talented, man.
Yeah.
He was really able to do it.
No, he is funny. He does a good show. He's got good presence, good act, and he's entertaining. Whereas I think Gino's, I've never seen him live, but I feel like it's probably just the same shtick. Like he's a shticky guy, you know.
Yeah.
That works too. That works really well for a lot of people.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I'm having
I've
power
seen
issues with my
Artie Lang live. That was probably one of the worst stand-ups I've ever seen. But he was full
How
on
bad was
fucking.
he? Was he fucked up or?
Oh yeah, he was fucked up. Yeah, it was a show it was a theater show, and it was Jim Norton, Bobby Kelly, Artie Lang, and they all did great. But Artie like was literally just obviously fucking high as shit. It was entertaining for that value, but
That's kind of the problem. You can only do so much, no matter.
yeah,
Some of these guys, it's I, I used to see comedians that would be their attitude would be if they got a little drunk or a little high, they thought they performed better. And that may have been true, but then there's a line that you hit
mm,
that you just become a drunk
yeah,
afterward.
yeah. There's
And
definitely a
so,
line.
and they don't know where it is,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, you get to a
it's-
point where you're past the line. You don't know it, but you feel like you're fine. Because then, a lot of drunk people are like, I'm not drunk, but you are. We all know you are. You don't feel like it, but you are.
right.
And
And
then you think you're even better than you are.
exactly.
I've been there.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're stuttering John hitting on the women, right? Like you think you're a stud, and everything you're saying is just it's just filled with wisdom,
Yeah.
and
And
you're
then I'm,
not.
I'm sure a lot of times these guys don't go back and like look or listen to what they said in the midst of their shit. And then, because if they did, they'd have to be like, oh, yeah, that's not good. What am I doing? What am I
Yeah.
doing?
The the most painful thing I've had to do in doing these streams is to go back and watch or
Yeah,
listen. Oh,
I know.
it-
It
it's
is.
so hard.
I don't really do it, honestly. Like, I'll watch just to see like if my sound was good, but I can't. I don't want to listen to myself. But I think you have to do it. You have to definitely do it to see what you're lacking or whatever. Which means it leads me to think that I don't think a lot of these guys watch their shit. Like KB definitely never watches it. He never watches his
Right.
show. You can tell. I don't think Chad does.
Yeah, but KB has look, KB has years of experience of doing this, and he's been on
Not
television.
this though. He doesn't
He's
have
had
years of experience running his own show. He has years of experience of showing up and being funny, which he's good
right.
at, but not running a show. Technically,
So
or
yeah, but he's had a lot of critique, and we don't find
okay.
KB funny, but a lot of other people do, right?
No,
So
I think Kevin's funny. Don't get me wrong. I just think his show is dog shit. But Kevin himself, funny. His comedy,
mm,
everything I've ever seen of him, hilarious. Like I like him as a comic. I kind of wish he would just go back to being a comic.
yeah, I don't know if I don't think that's gonna happen. So oh,
Why
I
would he?
just
He never made this much doing fucking road, you know, or doing the road. Skipped a word.
Yeah, I do think the TV stuff was making a lot, but yeah, but would you do the road stuff if you didn't have to?
I mean, me personally, right now, yeah. If I was a comic, I would love to go. I love staying in hotels, so I would definitely do it.
Yeah, I
Get
I don't
away
know. I
from the
think the
family.
bloom could come off that rose pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Uh, KB has 575 people watching him now, and he started streaming an hour ago. And I'm laughing because when
those
I
numbers are down, dude.
went
Like,
onto YouTube to take a quick look, I thought I saw Dave Sarah on there, and I was gonna go, oh, that's why he's not here. Um, Hold on a sec. Oh
it's
yeah,
okay if you
KB
if
has also turned off the ability to rewind.
yeah. Is it members
So
only?
the chat, I mean, I'm not a member, so I can see it.
Well, you can see it, but can
And
you chat in it?
the live chat, no, anybody can
Oh, it's open.
chat
Yeah.
into it.
But 500 is way down than he would usually get Saturday night drunk streaming. Because
Right.
now it was like a little bit of he wouldn't do it every Saturday, but now he's doing it every Saturday, and so, he does 7 days a week.
And sometimes twice a day.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just put
that's
in the
crazy.
chat. Can I send him a link?
Maybe we can get him to stream snipe.
Yeah. Uh,
We
and
should snipe
oh,
him. You should bring him up. Let's snipe him.
Dave Sarah was on. Cool. And then I'm going to hold on. Let's just see what we've got. Stop that. I'm getting like stuttering John talking to my computer as we go.
Yeah, I think actually Mr. Blue Sky said we should snipe him. There you go.
Filibuster. But I'm not killing time, but this is for real. At least today it was warm and there's more bikers out. The problem in the winter when it's cold, Permis will back me up.
He's
Problem in the
knocking
winter
on
when it's
me.
cold is like they don't expect to see a biker. So you got to be kind of alert. You got to kind of anticipate that they don't expect to see a guy on a bike.
Liam's hoping
Sometimes
for
they
a link.
honk,
He
like, what
needs
the
the
fuck you
50
doing? And I'm
bucks.
like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be out. It's 30 degrees.
What are your thoughts on Liam?
Liam, how dare you?
I think Liam is a talented comedian, but finding him as a person, not somebody that there's something shady, and I don't quite know what it is.
Can't
But
put your finger on it, but there's something off. I feel
something
that.
is not, yeah, something is not right. And
Interesting.
But they don't.
particu-
It's real homophobic,
but
man. Like,
hold
especially
on.
if I'm there by myself.
Particularly the way he'll talk to people one way on the stream, and then he'll be on another stream and he'll talk about them differently. And then there was an incident about a month ago. He was on Povo's Clowntown,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dixon comes on,
Yeah, yeah.
and he jumps off when Dixon comes on. And then as soon as Dixon went off, he came back on, and they were like, "Oh, you're scared of Dixon or something." And he's like, "No, I didn't do that. I didn't want to make it about me. I didn't want to have a fight with another comedian and make it about me. That's not what the show is about." And then Ray came on, And immediately, as when Ray came on, he started challenging Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're saying shit about me. So it was obvious to me he didn't think he was a match for
No,
KB. I mean, I'm sorry, for Pat
for
Dixon,
Pat,
but he
yeah,
thought he would be fine against Ray, and that's what it was
right,
about. So he really was
yeah.
intimidated by Pat Dixon.
I don't think he could hold his own against Pat either. So
I
I
have
mean,
a feeling
he made the right
anybody would
choice.
have a tough time with Pat. Pat's
Yeah, yeah. Pat's quick. He's smart and he's funny. It's hard
yes,
to, yeah,
yes, and I've been friends and shit on by Pat all at the same time.
yeah. No, I enjoy Pat. I've always liked Pat. And his treatment from one of my friends, he's like, I stopped watching KB when the way he treated Pat Dixon was ridiculous. And he's not even that big of a Pat fan. He just respects like how retarded KB is.
Yeah, that was such bullshit. That whole thing, you know. And but I was
Irrational
watching
people make
Pat last
irrational
night, and
things.
I love Pat, but man, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it just like I don't know. It's like he's snake bit. Like there's nothing that seems to be going his way.
Who, Pat?
Yeah, lately. Now Pat may disagree with me about that, but um,
Yeah.
I sent Pat a. I was being I didn't mean it to come across. What I was trying to say, Pat's shows never seem to get clipped, and I was like, oh, if you. What I was trying to say was, if you clip your shows, if like there's clips, let me know and I'll put them out. And it came across like, hey man, I'm trying to give you heat, and it was so ridiculous. And Pat went all over me for it.
Yeah, I remember I was watching when you guys were talking
Yeah.
about that.
Well, that was one
Yeah.
night when you were trying to come on.
Yeah,
and
I was trying to get on.
We couldn't get. Yeah, you couldn't
And
get on.
I realized what that was. My browser was muting his streaming app thing. It wouldn't. So I ended up. Yeah, my browser wouldn't let me unmute myself in that app for some reason. So I did it in another browser and it worked fine. But yeah, no, that was funny. Yeah, but I understood what you were saying. I got your point. You're just saying maybe do some clips, or get your clipping.
Yeah,
game
it's
out there.
funny. I was trying to avoid saying, if nobody's clipping your shit, clip it, right?
Yeah.
Like you put out clips, and I didn't want to say I'll then try to take those clips and feed them to other people.
Right.
I'll put them up on. I was trying to sound not like I was a big cheese, like
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
a very small little morsel and whatnot, but it didn't come out that way. So.
Yeah, you don't. To me, you don't come off as someone who would be like, "Oh, listen to my advice." Like you feel. I feel like you're like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still just getting this myself." So yeah, he took it the wrong way.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Look, it's Pat, and we've been through that before. And look, I did what I tell other people to do. I talked to him about it. You know, I didn't run and hide. Sam Bibley,
Right.
we like it when you read our comments out loud, when they're on the screen, when you say our names. I like that too, Sam. And part of the reason why I say your names is because what I was doing with the shows, I'd said earlier, but watching them, I've been listening to them, so I was downloading them and putting them into an audio file. And I realized that I was reading all the chats, but I wasn't saying people's names, so I didn't know who had said what. And it all got very confusing.
No, that's a good practice to get into, because there are people that might just be listening with no visual, and there is a way to read chats. I've learned you have to say their name, read the whole chat. Don't be like Ray, where you just go, oh yeah, Pat deserves it. Oh yeah, and then you start talking about it when you don't even finish it. You've read it in your mind, but no one else knows what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, that's
exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that happens. But you're just learning.
Exactly
you're still getting into
doing.
this.
So I've made a point of it.
You're not monetized yet, right? How many more hours do you got? Does it tell you?
Probably thousands.
I don't even know how many it is to get monetized.
I think it's 4,000.
No, it can't be that much.
It's 1,000. I'm sorry. Maybe it's no, it's not 1,000.
No,
it's like 3,000 or 4,000.
Oh, I think it's only a couple hundred.
No, I have
Let's look it up.
I have about 700, but I think it's 3,000.
Oh no shit.
Can you tell how excited I am to get monetized?
Yeah,
I mean,
you're not doing
seriously,
this
it's
for the
like
money though. Like, well, if you made some money, it'd be fine. But you're not here for, the money.
no, but the deal is if I don't organically get viewers, right? Like, if I don't have viewers, being monetized means nothing. And it was one of the points that Melton made about both Felicia and Liam, which is like, yeah, you're getting all these watch hours and you may get monetized, but you're not going to, but what's the
Yeah.
point?
What do you? Yeah. What is your product you're putting out? Garbage. Oh,
Right,
you can make money on garbage, but no one's watching. So what the fuck is the point? Yeah. Oh, you're
right,
right, dude. You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 valid public
right.
watch hours. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Or no, maybe it's yeah.
it's 503,000 now, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, level 1. There's different levels. So that's for
I,
fan funding is
right.
500 and 3,000. But for ad revenue, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
Yeah. I've been getting emails from one of
Get that
these
ad
guys
head.
that, for several $100 can, you know, um, teach me everything I need to know about
No,
getting monetized and all of
oh
that
no, yeah,
stuff.
there's a bunch of those. Dude, you can actually buy monetized channels too.
Right. Which which I wouldn't, frankly, I'm not going to do that. But
No.
um the dude was he's okay. He's not about buying subscribers or, any of that stuff. But his advice, the problem with his advice to me is that it's all related to figuring out the tweaks of YouTube and not content, right?
Yeah, the
And so
shortcuts. Yeah.
my attitude is if I don't have content, not that this is content, but if I don't have content, um, that what's the point? There's no point in me getting monetized, and I'm not going to enjoy doing it and whatever.
Yeah.
But I will say he was encouraging me to use Streamlabs, and get tips and maybe I think coffee is that the name of it or something.
No,
Um,
yes. Yeah, something like
and there
that. Cup of
were
coffee.
other things because he and his point was valid, which is like you don't really care about you're not trying to make a living or a lot of money off this. So if you made enough money to just cover your expenses, you'd be happy. And I'm happy now. I'm just afraid that uh, I wonder if I would spend more time. I would play to the people giving me money.
Yeah. Well, and then you get preoccupied with like, oh, hey, by the way, here's if you want to send me a cup of coffee. Like then that just eats into it ruins the flow. Like there's a few shows I watched that they got that's what it bothers me when they're just begging, but they're not. But they throw it in there. I can't think of any of the shows off the top of my head, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like you watch a show and then all of a sudden they're just like, hey, remember? Like, all right, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I don't mind the guy who just says, "Hey, look, if you want to help us out, send us money."
Yeah,
But of course, Aaron Imholt is at
yeah,
the
it's like,
big extreme.
yeah,
Um, and then you can kind of come like Shuli. I find it hard to watch because I think the super chats ruin the show. KB only plays to the super chats.
but KB
I don't
doesn't
like that.
beg for it though. KB never really says like, we all know but he never asks for it. And like Melton never says, hey, by the way, send me money or like, hey
Right.
guys, super tips or PayPal. Like he doesn't say it. Like a lot of the better shows, and I'm saying the better shows. I don't know why I said that. But even like fucking Chad will just be like mentioning it every couple minutes. It's like, all right, dude. He'll spend the first 15 minutes sometimes just going over the people that sent him money at some point in his life. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? I don't care about your subscribers that sent you $100. Get on with
Right.
the fucking show.
Or he does the thing where he's like, "I'm not going to be doing this any longer if you don't send me money," and you're just like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?" Melton incorporates it well. Melton also
Yeah.
is, he's been doing this for so long. He's got the personality. Uh,
He's figured out a
he,
way to not annoy you with it.
but he also knows how to hit the right buttons to get people to give it.
Totally.
Right? Like
Yeah.
he knows how to tweak a Reels or somebody else,
Right.
and you know you can make fun of Aaron pitting the morning show against the evening show to get his goal, but Melton will sometimes, you can see, he'll pit one high roller against another high roller,
Yeah. And
and they kind
it's
of fight to
hilarious.
see.
He'll mention something about, oh, memberships, for example. He'll just mention something sometimes, and then all of a sudden, there's just fucking gifted, gifted, gifted. It's like, damn, dude, that's crazy. He just says something, and then it happens.
I I've met Melton probably 4 times. He took my wife and I out to dinner when we were in Vegas.
Damn.
Um, uh, Not too long ago. We landed in Vegas. We left. We went to like Zion and Bryce and all that shit, and then we came back and the next week, and he met us um, before we went to the airport. Good guy. I drove him around Rochester when we were in DabbleCon. Um,
Yeah,
and
I've heard he's a really gracious person in real life.
totally not that guy in person,
Yeah.
you know? Like he really does feel like he does the show because he enjoys it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
making money and a living is obviously part of it, but I never got the feeling from him that he was grifting or
No,
wouldn't talk to somebody because they weren't giving them money.
no.
You
And
know,
I get the same feeling, and it kind of we're washing his balls right now, I guess you could say. But yeah,
whatever.
he doesn't come across like a dickhead.
Yeah, he may very well go home and say to the wife, "Oh, these fucking assholes, you know, look at what." It's possible, but it just doesn't feel like that. And
Right.
then Rocco, same way.
Yeah, he
And
seems
I usually
genuine.
listen to Rocco on Saturday mornings, and he really does. He makes quite a bit of money on super chats, but he saves them pretty almost to the end of the show, much to
Yeah, he
Melton's
does it right.
consternation,
You can tell the people
right?
that make decent money because they're, first of all, not really bragging about it, like, or they're not begging for it. So they're just like, it's gonna come, fuck it, let's do a show. Like you
Or they're
said, the
doing this because they enjoy it,
content is fucking key. If you got
right?
nothing, like, imagine if we were begging for money right now. We are not doing anything for that is even you should pay anybody for. We're just sitting here
No,
talking. We were gonna call each other. I was gonna call you on the phone, but we decided to do it on here.
right.
Why would you ask for money for that?
It,
But
it,
there are shows that do that.
exactly, exactly.
Like
And
Joey
any
C, for
delusions that I
example.
have that I'm going to become a big YouTube channel and
Yeah,
podcaster are long, long gone.
dude,
Deb, I like Melton a
Joey
lot. He's
fucking
really great observations on the people that he covers.
yeah. Dude, Joey C fucking goes when he hits like go live. He expects to be paid. That's the difference. Like he's got nothing to be paid for, but he's there, so you should pay him. That's his mind. I'm doing this. I'm putting the hours in, but you know what? You clocked in, and you're just leaning. You're not doing anything.
Right. But it's also like, you know, do you want to be the organ grinder's monkey that's dancing
Yeah.
for tips, you know? I don't
Well,
want
that's
to do
even
that either.
that's respectable if you go in knowing that's what you're doing. Like, if you start a show knowing, like, I'm gonna try to be a lolcow. I'm just gonna go out there and try to get people to fucking talk shit about me, and then maybe I'll get some money out of it. Like, there's shows that I guarantee do that. They have to because they're so bad. How are they not? Unless they're that dumb, you know. I almost think Joey is trolling all of us, and he knows he's putting out shit.
Um,
No,
yeah, no, I actually, I don't think he thinks he's putting out shit, but I
no,
think he thinks he's talented.
no, he does. I
And,
was joking. He
and that,
definitely
yeah,
thinks
and
he's
that
doing good.
it, it's, you know, high quality stuff. Because when you do talk to him, and I've talked to him, goes back to before the new year, because I was going to work with him on getting his shit together and
Oh no.
organizing some stuff,
Oh
and
no.
it never happened. But he's one of those guys. He's got a million ideas,
Hmm.
and he thinks each one of them is valuable, but he never puts any. He doesn't put any into action,
Yeah.
and so nothing ever really happens. So he's got enough people that troll him for money. He does the reaction, but it's like it's not a growth strategy.
No. I wonder. He probably makes a couple $100 a week though. He's got to.
Yeah, but he's got to pay the Lou guy, right? Um, he doesn't. I think Eccles said that he makes about was either 1,000. Oops, my camera just died. Either 1,000 or 2,000 a month.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
that's not bad for
uh,
fucking sitting around doing nothing.
right. No, it is. I just lost my camera, and for some reason, it's not charging. Hold on.
All
See
right.
if we can get it going. Otherwise, gonna leave you kids tonight. But luckily, I had awesome sound, and let's see if I can get you going. Only 0% battery. I don't know why. I'm using a
Use your phone as your
the
camera. Is that what you're doing?
no, I'm using a Osmo Pocket 3,
I don't know. Never
which is
heard of
one
it.
of those little gimbal. I'm on screen as if I'm talking, as if you can see me. It's an Osmo Pocket 3. It's a one of those little gimbal cams,
Oh,
and
okay.
my missus gave it to me for Valentine's Day. I Rocco had an older one when we were in Atlantic City, and she saw me eyeing it, and
like a camera to bring
she
around with
never knows
you.
what to get me, and and so she
Yeah.
got it for me, and it works great as a webcam and other stuff. But I'm having the connector that I'm using for the USB-C is not charging it. So
I got you.
I ran out of battery.
Can you
So
plug it
there
directly into your computer?
I
Or is
can,
it?
but that means then I have to unplug my monitors.
I got you. How do you
I
connect it to
only
your?
have
Is it just like Bluetooth or something?
I only have it won't connect.
Uh,
StreamYard won't recognize it on Bluetooth.
uh,
And I have an HP gaming laptop, but it only has two USB-C ports, and one of which is the power port. So that's taken up. And because it requires a 140-watt power supply, I can't get a Thunderbolt. I haven't been able to get a Thunderbolt USB-C connection that will both power it and access the USB-C. So hold
gotcha.
on one sec. We might be getting some stuff back here. So
Yeah, I just
um,
use a shitty fucking Logitech thingy.
yeah,
USB. Boom.
I got really lucky. I was yeah, it's turning off again. I had a Microsoft Surface Pro and I dropped it and I took it back to Best Buy. I had the package. I took it back to Best Buy. I had it for 2 years. Took it back to Best Buy to get it fixed, and Best Buy could not fix it, and they gave me back the $1,200 that I had paid for it.
Damn.
So I used that to buy this. So Chris Mack, I'm going to read a couple of chats, and then we're gonna bail out of here. Crumb.
Okay.
Chris Mack, I have a 17 HP Omen. Um, I really like this computer. It's certainly better than the Surface. The Surface just could not do video. Um, and uh, I really like it a lot, except it's got some problems. It's a 14 and it's very thin for a gaming computer, which is great. But unfortunately, the battery life sucks. The battery only lasts about an hour and a half on it.
That's no good.
Yeah, and that's the rub on it. And particularly when I had the Surface, that thing would last 6, 7 hours. But
Yeah,
it
I'm
is
off like computers, man. I'm using a Chromebook.
so. But if you can do it on a Chromebook, that's great.
But it's all I can really do. Like I can't use this Chromebook for anything else. And I did buy a laptop, but it's a piece of shit. I didn't. I just impulse bought it. Um, but yeah, no. Eventually, that's another key to this thing is like you have to have like that's one of the reasons Chad's shit's always not working. He doesn't have the right computer. That's what it boils down to.
Right. Well, I mean, it can get pricey, right? Like
Yeah, totally.
that's the deal. When I first started doing this, Dave Sarah had me get the mic that I bought was like $30, if it was even that much. And it worked fine for a while. And it was okay, but not to use as a regular streaming mic.
Yeah, you can tell it's $30 too in the end.
Right. And that was
What
the
you got
problem
now is
was
great.
I was listening. This is now I just bought this one. This is a
You get the
Shure
Shure, right?
MV7 Plus,
Yeah.
and I I really like it, but there's definitely a learning curve with it. Um, so the app it uses and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I, I want shitski.
Well,
So am I
is
still
it
here?
yeah,
Go
is
ahead.
it XLR? Do you have an XLR like
It's both
input?
XLR and USB-C.
Well, you could always that's a good thing about having that though, because you could get rid of you could get like this thing I got. It's a Focusrite. I forget what it's called, but you could plug your mic into that, and then your computer you can get rid of that other app.
Yeah.
But then you got to spend another couple $100 on this thing.
Well, this is the bigger
That's
the
the
bigger
issue.
issue for me is that um, I do this show from like 3 or 4 different places,
Oh, right.
so that's really where my problem is.
Yeah, you got to
So I'm
be
constantly setting shit
mobile.
up so the USB works, the USB-C works.
Yeah.
Hold on,
No,
just give me
whatever you're
one
doing
second.
now is working fine. So I'd stick with that. Your sound is good. You can't go wrong with a Shure. I've never heard a bad one.
Yeah, just hang on one second. We're gonna do something here.
I don't even know which one. I got a
And
Shure. I don't know which one it is though.
well, the stuff was some of the shit was it was crazy expensive and I didn't want to buy that,
Mm-hmm.
but let's just say this is going to look like shit.
Oh, okay, I
Whoa,
see yours. Yeah.
that's a way too close. Sorry. I'll have to look at the side of that's my laptop camera. So, anyway, enough. You can see my green screen. And I don't
You're
want
good.
people reviewing my little office room here.
So when you say you do it from multiple places, you got like your office here, and then what do you got like
So, yeah,
sometimes you're in.
I'm in my house here, and then we have a condo up near the city, and then I do it from my office. So
Oh, nice.
it just depends upon where I am. So on the weekends, I'm usually here, and then during the week, I'm at the condo.
No shit. So you just got a condo for like the weekends? Or you guys usually rent it out or something? Or
No, not at all. It's ours. We stay there. We're there.
that's cool.
We're about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from the city, the house, and then the condo was where we lived originally, and
Got
then
you.
we bought this place, and so
And you're retired now, right? Didn't you just
no, I'm
did I
still
hear that?
working.
Oh, I thought I
No, I
heard you
own my
say
own
you
place,
retired.
and that's the big deal. I'm trying to in the process of selling my business. It was supposed to happen a year ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, but COVID completely fucked us.
Oh,
And then I had an employee who was cooking the books, so to speak.
oh fuck.
And by the time I caught it, I was down over 100 grand. So um, I wanted to because I don't want to retire. I don't want to be struggling when I retire.
Mm-hmm.
So it was better to build it back up and do
Yeah,
that.
totally.
And
Eh,
I'm not going to tell you what I do, but I like what I do. It fits my personality. So, and I've
hell
been
yeah.
very lucky to have it. So, and
Yeah.
I
If you like
literally
what you're
lucked into,
doing, what the fuck? Who cares? Keep
I,
going.
I lucked into it. Yeah,
Because
it's
yeah, then you
cool.
retire, then you have to go get a job you hate. No, fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't have to work, but I have a feeling that Mrs. Buckman would be. You need to get your ass to work, right? Like you can't be sitting around all day.
Yeah, get sick of
And
you.
so that's the deal. So,
Yeah,
um, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll become a famous YouTube streamer and
there you go.
be able to talk. I don't know how I watch some of these guys. I've watched some of these guys like an Ethan Ralph, um, particularly. I don't know why I'm on him lately. And he's only on Rumble, but he goes like 6, 7 hours
Mm.
uh, for what seems like very little money. I don't know how you have that much to say.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know
You know?
how. I don't know how some of these guys do it. I mean, even Melton, he'll go for 6 hours, and I mean he'll do 2 hours on like a 40-minute clip. So like, maybe that's how you kind of
But
stretch.
he
But
then takes off for a couple of days.
yeah,
Like these guys do this day after
every day.
day.
Well, it's like KB. That's why he's just fucking yelling into the void about he's a pedophile. I mean, he literally does the same show every day. So I mean,
Hmm.
it's possible. You just have to be willing to kind of debase yourself. I think.
Right.
I
Well,
don't. I
that's
don't think
the
you're at that level.
no. I'm
No.
I'm I'm not at the debasement level. I've never been at the debasement level, and
Yeah.
so I don't anticipate going there. But
I would do it, but the money has to be there, not for fucking $30. No.
yeah, look, if I had enough to say, I would do it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care. But like, for a guy like Patrick, who this is his job, or other people, Melon comes on. He's got. You can tell. He says he doesn't, because I asked him this question, but he says he doesn't really prepare, and I find that to be a little disingenuous because he knows too much to go on. So
Yeah.
I think he does prepare, but he wants to make it look easy. Um,
Right.
and so there's a lot of work that goes into. I think there's a lot of in a 5 hour stream. There's probably another 5 or 10 hours that goes into prepping for
Yeah.
it.
He's got to watch some of those clips because there's no
Right.
way he hasn't. I don't know. I know what you're saying. I always thought that was a little bit,
Right.
you know.
And he pays clippers. He pays people to make clips for him and stuff like that. So how do you do that without watching things, right?
Yeah, that's
Um,
a hard job being a clipper because you have to watch all the fucking shitty shows and then make it in a clip form funny. And some of them do a
right.
great job.
But I don't know how to clip, right? I don't know how to edit video or whatever. And
Yeah.
I've had a couple of people offer to do it for me, and it's always like, well, you have to send me the timestamps. You have to send me the timestamps. And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea, but I cannot sit through an Aaron Nichols stream.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
tedious. It's
I
tedious.
and the other ones, and I don't have the time.
I
You
don't
know?
either. I could never.
It-
I'm too like ADHD. I couldn't sit there and I'm like distracted. I'm looking at something else. No.
right. But if you could listen, if I could listen to them and like tap out a note. But the thing with Aaron is there's so much involved. Like you don't know. I'm just using him as an example, but I don't know that what he's saying is going to be important until 10 minutes later when he backtrack on that statement, or it's like this very innocuous statement, like
Yeah.
the guy is middle management, and then you're like, wait, didn't I hear something like before? Or you hear that the guy's like the operations manager, and you don't think that a week later you're gonna have to do it. Aussie guy Dean, I never sit through an hour. And all I need is the first 10 minutes of his show. This
Yeah.
is true, um, but I also don't want to do what everybody else is doing, right? Like I can't do it better than you, so I'm not going to do that,
Yeah.
right? Like
Exactly.
I want to watch the whole thing, and I'd like to pick out the the stuff that I find interesting. But some and pretty antisocial, they pretty much pick out everything that I see, and we do chat back and forth a little bit with ideas. So it's I shouldn't say with ideas. I will point something out to them, and they will probably have already seen it or thought of it.
Yeah. You know what? You need to find a new person to watch. A new target. Like, cause that's the
I-
thing. Like, everyone's doing the same people, and they do it well. So to become a success in this, let's find
So
someone
I'm
else.
hoping, right? I kind of would like to move away from like making people targets and stuff, but I've only been streaming for a few months, so I'm trying to learn how to stream
Yeah.
to become comfortable with both the camera and the mic and uh, speaking and losing my uhs and ahs and that stuff and being more consistent and thoughtful. So um, I'm cool with where I am. I'm cool with.
Yeah,
and
and you're knocking off those hours. You just did 2 right now, so knock that off the 4,000 you gotta do.
yeah. So now the question is it two? So is it or is it more? Right. So if 7 people watch 2 hours, is that 14 hours?
Oh, it does say watch hours. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how
So
that works. Yeah,
I think it's the I think it's
I would say just on the hours. Like if you're streaming, that would be considered just straight.
yeah. I don't think so. I think
Oh,
it's the
really?
watch hours. So I think it's the number of people that watch your stream, and it makes sense because if April Imholt came on, right, and did a stream,
Ah.
and she got 3,000 people watching it, and it was for 2 hours, she'd bang out her 3,000 hours very quickly.
Oh, see, yeah, I didn't think of that, man. I'm dumb. I would just, I would think that it's just straight. You gotta do 4,000 hours logged in that book.
And that's part of the issue with like Liam, right? So Liam he's running old out of copyright movies. So he's getting up his watch hours, but there's only 1 or 2 people watching it. So let's say that, I don't know, he gets one person to watch 3,000 hours. So he hits monetization for who?
Yeah,
Right?
that
Like
guy, that one guy.
you're right. Is that one guy gonna pay? And then I don't remember who it was. It was Smooth or Soft or Calm or Touchy who begged Melton to get super chats, and Melton gave him super tips. Melton gave him super tips, and the guy he's never had one super tip.
Oh, Soft Weekly.
Software. So it was like and that's like 4 months or 5 months of doing it. And I just had somebody the other day tell me you should get super tips, and I could, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure if you asked Melton,
But
he'd let you use it. Yeah,
yeah, and well,
doesn't cost him anything.
he actually said it to me. Should get on super tips, but
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think again, I don't want to play to the super tips. I don't want to worry about it. But saying that, I would at the same time, if I could make $75 a month or whatever it is, try to amortize some of this equipment I bought,
yeah,
it
right.
would be great.
Yeah, you could pay for, the shit that you use to make the show, if anything.
Right. Even I
Well, you could put. I mean, you could put
the
up a
English is
fucking.
lacking here, Aussie guy. Even the Ive has 3 super tips and it's not officially been launched yet.
You could
That's
easily
great.
put up a, like a QR code if people wanted to send you money, or just put your fucking Venmo on the bottom of the screen. There's other ways around getting paid if you really needed the
Aussie, yes,
money.
sir. Yeah, we're gonna do it. So this is my actually immediate goal is to feel comfortable getting on camera and streaming by myself. Um, I wanted to, I'm doing Tuesday and Thursday consistently, and then doing other days sort of randomly. But I would like to get comfortable enough that I could just like today I had time and I had thoughts. So it would have been nice to be able to feel comfortable enough to get on and say spend an hour just talking into the camera, but I find that difficult to do. If I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
have even 2 or 3 people commenting, it's difficult for me to do.
Well, you could always. I don't know if this goes for watch hours, but you could just do a show and tape it and then put it up and.
I I could. I could. I'm having difficulty just talking to the camera when there's no interaction.
Yeah. You have to be prepared and know what you're gonna do if you're just sitting there by yourself with nothing.
It's tough. Well, yeah, and you can also vamp basically with the chat, right? Like
Yeah.
I can have what I want to say in my head and I can prepare, but that may not necessarily translate into the show for me because I'll get on, I'll get nervous, and then I won't say what I want. And but I can go to the chat and I can read a chat
Yeah. If you get
and
stuck.
go to that, and it'll settle me down, and then I can come back. And um, the one thing I can say about watching shows is that almost always by the end of the show, you can see that I'm significantly more comfortable
Yeah.
than I am at
Totally.
the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And there
Well,
are guys
you
like
could
you that
do
you're even.
a private show where there is people watching. It's just not live, you know, and
No,
then
but then I'd have to force
put that
people
out.
to watch. Um,
Then you get
Aussie
test
guy,
monkeys.
it's very difficult. I've never gone solo. I hate the first 15 seconds of my show before I introduce co-hosts. Yeah, and by the way, Aussie's on at 9:30 tomorrow morning, Eastern time. Awesome show. And if you don't get up that early on Sunday, it is evergreen, at least for a week. So you want to watch it if you can. Um,
Yeah, he does a good
yeah,
show.
we talked about that in the beginning because that was what was happening was when I was first doing the show, I was doing them with Dave, and I was working and comfortable with Dave. And then he couldn't make it. And I would be like, or if you see my Thursday show, I'm just a complete disaster. But I persisted. I probably went about an hour or so. I didn't get off, which is what I would have done in the past. And
Yeah, and Dave has the gift of gab, so he kind of just keeps going. He kind of can carry a
right,
show, I think. Yeah.
and and that's why I quit doing stand up was or any kind of stuff. I developed it came out of the blue and I developed terrible stage fright and I couldn't I couldn't get in front of a crowd,
I don't know
you
shit.
know? And it was just wild. And so and it, I was overthinking everything and
Yeah.
everybody was judging me and it concerned me and it bothered me. And so even last year at Hackamania, did a stand-up contest. I tried to do it. It lasted about 30 seconds.
Oh shit, dude, I've always wanted to see that. He said he was gonna put that out, and he never
I
put it
hope to
out.
God he never
I
does.
don't think he will. I think people are probably like, please do not fucking publish that. I wanted to see it though. I missed it.
So
Wasn't good.
as not for me, but as an no, it was great. As an audience member, it was probably great. It just wasn't good for me. And luckily, Carl's brother Grant shit the bed in such a dramatic way that nobody remembers my. Uh,
What did he do? It's
he
just a bad.
had, I think it was called. He was like a prop act. He had
Oh
Chompers the
no.
dinosaur, and like he expected a crowd reaction, and that was gonna get him going. And he came out, and there was nothing. It
He
was
brought
dead,
props.
and it went downhill from there. But he was a trooper, man.
Wow.
He went through the whole thing, and he did it.
Why
He's a good
hasn't
guy.
Melton put this out, dude? That would be fantastic.
Well, there were uh so it was a mix. That's why it was good for the audience. The mix was that you had open micers like ourselves, and then you had real comedians um, who were there for like a legit contest.
No, that's
And
right. Yeah, Vegas
so
comics. Yeah.
I don't know whether those Vegas comics wanted it out or not out. Um, I don't know. You know, Earl, there was a judge, it was a judging thing. So Earl Skakel was one of the judges, Tukey was a judge, and some guy who calls himself Kool-Aid
Oh, I
was a
know.
judge.
I know him. His name is Austin. No, not Austin. Yeah, I know that guy. He's a comic in Vegas. Yeah.
And
Big
I
fat
tried to
guy.
goof
Big
on
giant fat fuck.
very fat
Yeah.
uh and one of the things that I find not great in comedy is fat guys talking about being fat,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what
That's
this
his
guy
whole
it's like
act. Yeah.
every joke was about being fat, you
Yeah.
know. And he
Eh,
was ballsy and he had a lot of confidence, but
yeah. I Yeah, I've hung out with that guy on a stream during COVID one time.
mhm.
Yeah, he got fucking like shredded by the people in the stream. Like,
Oh really?
it was Bobby Kelly would do a stream where he would be on. After the show, he would come on to the Zoom with all the people that were watching. So there'd be like 30 of us in this Zoom call or whatever. And he came on one time. Everybody was just fuck. I mean, he's a big fat guy, so it was
Right.
easy target. He never
And
came back though.
so when he came out on stage, I thought he was a broad, right?
Yeah, he looks like a chick. Yeah, big
I
fat
thought
guy.
it was a chick,
Yeah.
and it's not, but it's just like your entire comedy is based upon this being fat and kind of looking like a chick and whatever. And it's, I guess, funny, and some people find it funny, but there was a giant section of the audience that was like, dude, maybe eat a salad. Like
Yeah.
once in a while, you know? And like you did this to yourself, so I'm not gonna feel like I don't feel you're not making me feel for you.
Yeah. No.
You know?
And he's one of those fats that are like very mobile and they don't wear clothes that fit him properly, and it's just like a gross fat. Like he's got like that. Where? How does he see his dick? Kind of fat. It's got that
Right.
giant fucking front
Right.
butt, like the big front butt.
Yeah.
There's
And I
different types of fats.
yeah, and I'm like I was fatter then, but I'm no lightweight, but I'm not but I was like not like the 400-pound thing. It was just but I don't know, man. It's just like the
I,
whole
I'm a
thing
s-
was
I'm a very small, thin dude. Always have been my entire life. So for me, it's very like I just don't understand how people can get to that size. It just feels like it'd be uncomfortable. Like I feel bloated a little bit when I've had too much pasta or something. Like in my stomach's, I can see it. How do you not feel uncomfortable when you're giant?
you look, you eat past it. It's an addiction,
Yeah,
right? There's got to be some psychological component
hundred
to it.
percent.
And I have a buddy of mine who's like 5'9", and for most of his adult life, he weighed 300 plus. And over the last 3 years, he's gotten it all down. No Ozempic, no, none of, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if the Ozempic works, it's great. Um, and he's been at 185 now for about a year, but it's a lot of work for him,
Oh, I bet. Yeah. No,
you
it's
know.
it's definitely an addiction. It's one of the addictions that everyone can see. You're wearing your addiction because we all can see you like to eat. It's 100%.
Yeah, and I've like even Liam is like a big 12 stepper guy, his own words, not mine. And
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who from my 12 step arc who are in a couple of food programs. There's several of them actually, but one of them that I know that people are really into, but it's a lot of work and but it works really well. And um, I offered to have he could that somebody could explain it to him or whatever, and I never heard back.
Hmm.
you know and that's the thing, man. It's like it's also really dangerous to live that life because a lot of these guys who are that big, they don't want to go to the doctor because they don't want to be judged. So like you're combining dangerous things.
Oh yeah.
In any event, my friend, we've gone 2 hours and 23 minutes,
All
and
right.
I don't think anybody ever watches the stream after. um, I want to thank you for coming on, but first
Thanks for
let me
having me.
thank I don't know who's still here or not here. Wow, we've got 7 viewers. Dean, the Aussie guy, and Chris Mack, Deb, and Leo was here, and Sam Bibley. I'm sure there's a bunch of KB fans who left us long ago.
Yeah, Mr. Blue
Um,
Sky, Panhandle.
MBS, yeah,
Yeah.
he's he's uh, he's great, and
Oh, uh, pretty antisocial. They were in earlier. You had Echo
yes,
watching. Your chat has got some of like the best chatters around. Honestly, like you definitely draw a good caliber of people. I've noticed in your chat. So
I've been blown away by that, like, uh, and honored. I don't know how else
yeah,
to explain it, but
no, you got
so
a lot of good viewers.
when I started doing the streams, I got DMs from like Stallion 19,
Hmm.
Carlos Danger. One of my favorites is Vinny Paulino, and um, one of the nicest, Dean, who's the Aussie guy, was like, he likes it. It's a great hang. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And
That's good endorsement.
we
Yeah,
don't
no,
yell at each other.
same with me, man. The first time I checked your show, I was like, oh, I just enjoy this. You're sensible guy, good voice. You're not stupid. You know what you're talking about.
I,
Yeah.
I could be stupid. I really want to get one of these stupid guys on and argue with them.
No, I
Um,
can get some. I got some haters. I could invite over if they found out I'm here. They'd probably come over and start calling me
because
names.
yeah, so it's like, yeah, I heard it was funny when I said I had mentioned your name to somebody, and they were like, they don't like you. I don't
Yeah.
think.
No, I got a few people that don't like me. I mean, in their defense, and I understand. I can say dumb shit, especially if I've been drinking, or I've been in some Discord chats and I've said some awful things to people. Yeah, but
Are you?
I'm not
But
gonna
you
blame it
haven't
on
been drinking,
drinking.
right? Like you said, you
Yeah, yeah,
stopped drinking.
yeah. I'm not gonna blame it on drinking because I don't do that. Like I've done, it was me. You know what I mean? But I'm not drinking as much now or
Yeah, but at the
anything.
same time, it's like drinking kind of loosens it makes you think you're smarter than you are.
Oh yeah,
Then
and
you
I, I
you know
I've been my entire life, even when I was a kid, been accused of diarrhea of the mouth. I have no filter sometimes, and then when I'm drinking, that's the filter's not there at all. You know,
right.
but
So yeah, and I've spent the last 20 years owning a business that's customer facing and whatnot. So I've spent the last 20 years trying not to be the asshole that I
mhm.
kind of am internally. Uh, so some of that has to come out because I find myself sometimes with people that are really stupid and real assholes being nice to them because that's what I that's what I do. And so uh it's interesting. It's interesting for me to go from that, sales guy, right?
Yeah,
And encouraging and trying to convince you of something. And now I don't need to do that.
no, no. There's no you don't have to win anyone over for to make a sale.
And yeah, and look, I do laugh. Jesse PS sent his people after me. And
Oh no.
yeah, and it amounted to 31 people accusing me of being in the lemon party.
Yeah, no. They're pretty one track. I had an interaction with one of them or with them too. There's like 10 or 11 in a Discord going at me, trying to get me to say the N word. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's something I also don't do. I don't do that. I don't do what do you call it? It's and I get a little bit the racist anti-Semitic people
yeah,
annoy me because it's stupid to me and it's also the low-hanging fruit,
yeah. Oh,
right?
totally, totally. I've been accused of
And
being
that's
racist. I'm not,
oh well.
but I mean, people can say whatever they
Well,
want.
it's one thing to say something once or twice, but it's another thing if that's like your whole persona. Um,
Yeah, no, I've never said anything racist though, but it's just people try to like there's a narrative about you that they try to put out there, and then it sticks with
right.
some people. I've had people like DM me and say I can't, I kind of enjoy you, but I can't because you're so racist. I was like, I'm not racist. Well, so and so said you are. Okay, then I must be.
Yeah. But so the Jesse PS thing was funny because it was 31 people that sent me. You must be an original member of the Lemon Party or something like that, and that was it. And it just died. And he did cover me on a show, and it was all because I had asked if he was wearing a wig, and I didn't even ask him. There was somebody put up one of his videos, and I'm like, "That's a wig, right?"
Yeah.
And he never actually said no, but he accused me of bald cope and being old, and then told his chat to say lemon party to me. So it was the 30-year-old reference was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
No, I don't honestly get Jesse PS. I mean, I just don't get that his whole thing. I don't
I
find it
don't get
entertaining what he
yeah,
does.
we can talk about it another time, but I don't get
Yes.
the red bar and I don't get the Jesse because it's too
No.
much shtick, like
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Studio and the and the Roadcaster and the
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's that like Jesse's studio. Well, he's supposed to be on a moon base, but there's a fan behind him
Oh, is
exhausting
that
his
what it's
moon base.
supposed to be, Moonbase?
I think that's what I've heard. But there's a fan that exhausting from there. So you'd be dead, man. You can't have a
Yeah,
fan
unless
to
the
the
it's
outside.
venting, unless it's like an office venting into another office or something. But
I don't know. His
you
moon
know,
base is not airtight. I'm thinking.
yeah.
And
Well,
Red Bar is just if you like sound drops, you I can't do it. The sound drops. This is what I like about your show. No sound drops.
Yeah, and look, I'm not against sound drops, but I mean, it's like a little bit because it's the same thing. It's like
It's
the
a crutch.
superchats. You come to rely on it,
Yeah.
and you make, like with Jesse, I was the other he'll make a point, then he'll hit a sound drop as like a tag to it. And it's almost like he should be doing the Rocky thing,
Mm-hmm.
And
A lot of guys do it. I
it
mean,
wasn't
Chad,
that
he got that Roadcaster. Now it's like he can't do a show without it. He's got to have
no,
his little toy.
it's a
It's a very
crutch.
yeah, it's a crutch, and I get it. I mean, I've got a bunch of verbal crutches. I keep on, we all do it. We all have them. I just don't have a
Right.
button to hit to compensate. I guess. I don't know. I don't know, but you can definitely do it with timing. It can be very good. There's a lot of people that use it right. It's all about like in comedy, everything is timing, right? So you have
Right,
to
and
time it right.
look, you have to develop a skill, and I'll close with this. Like you go back to what you said before. It's like you kind of have to watch what you did. You have to go back. It's like really good comedians, really good performers. They all record their shit. They go back, they listen to it, they learn from it, and they go on. I think Chad does a show, the book is closed, and then he moves on to the next one, and he's only good as the last 15 minutes of the show he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he doesn't really think about that stuff, and that's why it's the same show all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah, if you're not going to
and
even watch your own show, but you expect people to watch it, no,
right.
doesn't work.
And look,
Anyway,
people like there's enough people that like Chad, but I don't get it. Anyway, good
yeah,
night,
man,
guys. And
good talking with you,
Brendan,
bro.
good to see you here. Schmuel went into the park finding a parking spot. I did some finding a parking spot streams. um
I love it. That kind of shit's
but
fun, though.
I had an accident with that car, and I'm driving the old station car, so I'm kind of embarrassed to be having a falling apart
Wait, real quick.
2012.
I'm not trying to tell you
Yeah.
how to do a show, but you live in the city, or you live close. You have access to New York City. You could be
Yes.
doing fucking, like just interacting with people in not Opie's. I guess Opie kind of tries to do that, but you know what I'm saying. Like that shit to me is fucking the best. Just walking around the city is fun.
So the neighborhood in the city that I'm
I like
in,
that kind of shit.
I'm like the only white guy there.
There you
So
go.
that's it would be interesting. But to be honest, I just haven't been comfortable in front of the camera enough.
No, you just do
So
it. Do it with we
right, but
don't
I
see
haven't been
you.
able. I mean, I could show people,
Yeah,
but
you walk around
to
with the like this
to
and say, "Hey."
interact with, yeah, I'm like, I have, I went to DabbleCon, and I have the thing, you can hang around your neck, so I could put my iPhone on it and like film, and I was too embarrassed to do that. But
Oh man,
I'll,
you
g-
got. I
I'm
got you. I understand you 100%, but
I'm
get over
getting
that hump.
yeah, getting over it. Look, I wasn't gonna do, so you can blame or thank Dave Sarah for this, because we were talking on the phone. Was happening was Dave and I were talking, and he's said one day, he's like, we should just do these on stream instead of doing them on the phone, and he thought
Yeah,
people would find them interesting, and it's happened.
there you
So
go. And
all
and
right,
and he wasn't wrong.
I'm bailing. Good
All
night,
right,
my
brother.
friend. I'll talk to you tomorrow,
Yeah,
and
man.
good
Holla
night, Dabbleverse.
later,
See
guys.
you later. Be back in a day or so, and definitely Tuesday and Thursday. Bye.